Hung Xingwang works tirelessly like a dog in a media company for a measly wage to support his ill mother in her medical bills. One day, his mother fell seriously ill and asked his boss to take leave. However, his boss did not permit his leave just because they're short-staffed in their new drama department. He tries to beg his boss that he will even work overtime just to make up for all the work he missed. But his boss only reminds him that he graduated from a third-tier university and should be grateful because the least qualified are only first-tier universities. His boss tells him to think it over carefully if he wants to take the leave. With that, he goes out to smoke a cigarette. His dad then called him, informing him not to worry because he had already borrowed some from relatives and friends, and his mother has medical insurance. But he knows it's not enough. He needed to do something. He heads over to the HR department and meets Sister Lee. 20 minutes later, he comes out feeling sad that he is now officially an unemployed person. At that moment, he realized his quiet reckless to quit his job in such a tough economic climate. Suddenly, a system interface appears, saying that the ultimate freedom system has been activated and it rewards our MC with some money for going against his ancestors' wishes. Our protagonist is suddenly puzzled, wondering what the hell he's looking at. He suspects that someone may be playing a video loudly, but he looks around and doesn't notice anything. His confusion grows even more as the system interface tells him to check his reward money. Our hero then brings out his phone only to see that his account has been credited with the same amount he saw on the interface. Still, he wonders if this might be a scam. He scrolls to look at the message closely, and the amount of money he sees completely blows his mind. The system tells him not to doubt it and that he should start living well. Despite seeing all the money he has right now, our protagonist still finds it hard to believe what's happening. He goes ahead to check his email and still sees the 88,000 yuan in his account. He thinks about the system he just awakened and how he activated it because he resigned. He starts to understand the system a little and decides to find another chance to get rewards. Suddenly, a lady approaches him asking what he's thinking about. She is known as Gao Wen, a singing and dancing blogger who has millions of fans. She then asks Xiguang if he has prepared her upcoming livestream plan. As she gets closer, his face goes red and he's too stunned to speak. He doesn't even remember what she asked him because he's too distracted by her stunning beauty. Seeing how distracted he is, she asks if he has finally opened up to her. She then reminds him to organize more operational resources for her because her top fans are slacking off. Gao Wen is known as the sexiest dance goddess online, and her tendency to joke around is seen as her weakness and strength. Our hero then informs her about his resignation and says the company will arrange for someone to take over. Upon hearing this, she is baffled and wonders why he has quit so suddenly. Xingwang knows that Wen only looks at him because of his knowledge of influencer operations. Regardless, he doesn't feel the need to say anything. Right now, he's as clear-headed as he can be. She tries to use her charms to persuade him to manage her operations, but our hero has already completed all the procedures for his resignation. She wonders why he's suddenly acting weird, then she asks if he's really going to leave her by herself. Our hero steadies his mind in order not to be swayed by Wen's charming looks. He then tells her that he wants to go on a long vacation. Wen gets even closer to him while asking which company he's going to and if they'll be competitors from now on. Due to how close she is, our hero can barely think straight because his brain is getting all excited. At that moment, he reminds himself that he can become a billionaire with the system and get any kind of beautiful woman. He suddenly notices that Gao Wen seems to have had a lot of work done. He then suggests that she should get some cosmetic maintenance done on her nose. The girl is completely shocked by his statement and even embarrassed, causing her to cover her nose. She whips out a small mirror and uses the sunlight to check her nose, wondering how it could be crooked. After staring at herself for a while, she decides to fix her nose quickly before the broadcast starts. Thanks to our hero's actions and open-mindedness, the system rewards him with about 23,000 yuan. He quickly brings out his phone to check his account balance, and he sees that the money has been deposited into his account. Upon seeing this, he finally figures out what the ultimate freedom system really means. He believes the system just wants him to be himself and not be a simp. After thanking the protagonist for his advice, Gao Wen hopes they'll still be able to work together in the future, so she wishes him the best. Xingwang is baffled by her kind words because he expected her to be upset after what he said to her. He can't tell if she's just pretending or actually being serious about what she said. However, she offers to treat him to a farewell dinner, and she also offers to help him find a job if he runs into any hurdles. Our hero suspects that she's worried about him because of his low education. Still, he's surprised to see how nice she actually is. He then offers to treat her to dinner instead, but she tells him to save up because of his meager salary. Even at that, our protagonist insists and tells Gao Wen to think of it as his advance, thanks for her support. At that moment, she puts on a really cute expression while also realizing that she doesn't really know our boy well. After packing up his belongings, Xingwang decides to contact her after work hours. He then heads out and into the bustling streets of the city. Normally, he would walk to his destination or even use public transport if walking was too much. On really late nights, he would share cars with others just to get back home, and he considered this a luxury at the time. Right now, our hero has more than enough money, so he decides to book the most expensive taxi. Moments later, a luxurious, awesome-looking car pulls up in front of him. The driver steps out to greet our boy and kindly asks him to get into the vehicle. Xingwang is awestruck as he looks at the car. The smooth lines and engine sounds are everything he expected of a luxury car. He then recalls a time in the past when he couldn't find someone to carpool with, causing him to get home at midnight. Compared to that moment, his life has definitely taken a great leap now. The driver then opens the door for him to get inside. As he gets in, the system rewards him with 50,000 yuan for indulging himself. The driver then tries to confirm his destination at the Baoxing Road intersection. The protagonist confirms and tells him to stop at the Laxi Pancake Shop. After that, the driver quickly steps on the gas while our hero enjoys the deluxe pushback. The car speeds off, and in mere moments, they arrive at the pancake shop in style. Our hero steps out of the car, looking ready to order every single thing he's craving at the moment. The old lady who runs the shop sees him and asks if he'll be having his usual pancake without eggs and sausage. However, Xingwang decides to order his pancake with 2 extra eggs this time. As he adds extra sausages to his order, the people around him are shocked. Our hero recalls how he could barely afford good food because of his low salary and expensive rent. He never bothered adding eggs back then, but now he can go all out on his meal. He feels like he is leveled, and he wants everyone around him to be envious and jealous. The people around the area are baffled by his order and wish they could be at his level someday. Even the system is happy with his standards and goes ahead to reward him with another 20,000 yuan. Xingwang goes ahead to enjoy every bite of his delicious big meal. He also decides to add 5 eggs the next time he comes to buy pancakes. While eating, he recalls that he couldn't even afford entertainment because he was too broke back in school. He tosses the wrapper into the trash while wondering what normal folks do to entertain themselves. As he walks through the streets, he comes across a huge shopping mall. An idea strikes him, and he realizes that he can go shopping with how much money he has. Seeing that he still has to take Gaowen to dinner, he decides to get better clothes that fit the aesthetics of the expensive restaurants. Our hero quickly heads into the mall to begin his shopping spree. He comes across the shops of some big brands like Hermes and Louis Vuitton. Not only is he shocked by the scent of oranges, but he also wonders why the brand names are in English because he doesn't understand them. He starts looking around frantically, showing that he's very new to luxury. He stares at the brand names, wondering why there's no Adidas anywhere. After pacing up and down for a while, he decides to just go all out and not restrict himself. He then goes into the Louis Vuitton shop where he sees some girls, but one of them tells him to go away. The lady looks at our boy, analyzing his hairstyle and outfit. Seeing how trashy it all is, she concludes that he's just a poor person. As the girls go about their business, he wonders why they're ignoring him and asks if they aren't going to attend to him. Although he looks broke, he really doesn't appreciate their snobbish and rude attitude. He then tells them that he's just getting back from work and that he wants to pick an item that's worth 150,000 yuan. However, since they're wasting time, he decides it's better to head over to the Hermes store. Upon hearing this, the sales girls are too stunned to speak. In a few seconds, they all surround him, advertising their goods and even offering him a cup of tea. Seeing their actions, our hero is convinced that money does all the talking in this world. After he's done shopping, a lady follows him while carrying some bags, and the others let him know that he's welcome at any time. Xingwang is impressed by the service in luxury stores, especially by the fact that someone else carries his bags for him. The lady then tells him that he's welcome to participate in a jewelry appreciation event if he has the time. After that, she offers to have the items he bought delivered to his home. However, our hero prefers to do these things himself. With a charming expression, the salesgirl wishes him a lovely day. While walking, he hears 2 girls talking about buying some luxury items, but one of them says she can't afford them because they're too expensive and suggests that they buy the items through agents. After hearing them, our hero is more convinced about how expensive these items are. Seeing that he basically spent up to 3 years' worth of salary, the system rewards him with 660,000 yuan. Xingwang then sees that the only path to earn more money is to keep spending lavishly. He needs to work a bit harder to reach his goal of becoming a millionaire. Later on, we see some women going in and out of an exquisite restaurant. Our hero, with his clean and expensive-looking attire, walks into the restaurant. There, he meets a waitress who welcomes him and offers to take him to his reserved private room. Xingwang then notes that he has arrived a bit earlier than expected, but the lady tells him that the VIP room has an area where he can rest and wait for his friends. As the lady guides him, he is impressed by how his expensive clothes are getting him such wonderful treatment, something he could have never enjoyed in the past. As they get to the resting area, the lady points out the desserts and tea on the table and then tells him to ring the bell if he needs their service. She promises not to bother him while he enjoys his meal. Our hero walks over to the large window to enjoy the beautiful view of the city from the 40th floor. So long as he has the money, he can enjoy the best services that life has to offer. Not only that, but he can also stand at the height that so many can only wish to reach. All the fantasies he has had in his mind for a while can finally come true. He then goes ahead to quickly send some money back to his dad, but not too much in order not to raise suspicions. If his parents ask where he got the money, he decides to tell them that it's from a part-time job. Meanwhile, Gaowen seems to be dancing seriously in order to impress her fans and keep them engaged. She's going hard at it so that the gifts can keep coming in. Our hero watches her stream on his phone and realizes this is why she hasn't replied to his message yet. She then goes ahead to thank her top fans for all the rocket gifts. After that, she ends her stream for the day. Later on, she takes off her heels and tries to relax for a bit after the stress. Her friends come over to ask what they'll be eating tonight, but she tells them that she already has some plans. The friend is eager to know if she's going to meet some rich man. One lets the girl know that she's going to meet Xinguang. Upon hearing this, her friends wonder if there's something going on between her and our hero. Gao Wen tells them to stop spouting nonsense and explains that it's only right for them to have a meal since he was her operations manager. The blonde-haired girl decides she wants to come as well, and Wen agrees. Gao Wen also decides that they'll pay for the meal themselves if it gets quite expensive. Xinuo, the red-haired girl, agrees that they should just treat themselves and not take advantage of anyone. However, she wonders if our boy can truly afford an expensive restaurant. Gao Wen then goes to wipe off her makeup and decides to meet her friends at the parking lot when she's done. Afterward, the girls meet up at the parking lot where we see an expensive-looking car. It belongs to Gao Wen, and she suggests that they take her car to the restaurant. She suggests that her friend should become a dancer-streamer since she wants to buy an expensive car as well. However, the girl explains that it's a lot of work, and she would rather wait to get swept off her feet by one of Wen's top fans. Xinuo tells her that she's thinking too much because in their line of work, it's good enough not to be used by the sponsors. Regardless, the blonde girl, Qingqing, just wants to dream. Xinuo leaves her to her dreams, but she doubts that Gao Wen actually bought her car by dancing alone. After that, she asks where they'll be eating. Gao Wen checks her phone for the location and is left speechless when she finds out where it is. On the other hand, Xinuo assumes the place is too cheap, which is why her friend is speechless. Gao Wen tells her friends that they're going to Lingwei, which shocks Qingqing. Cold sweat starts to run down Wen's face as she realizes that the restaurant is in the Qingtian building. It's a really famous 3 Michelin star restaurant, and it's also hard to get a reservation there. She wonders if this is a mistake or if our hero decided to quit his job because he's now super rich. On the other hand, Xinuo thinks it might just be a cheap place that's around the area, and feels that our boy is trying to show off. Gao Wen tells her not to judge because Xinguang isn't that kind of conceited person. Regardless, Xinuo still doubts that our hero is being genuine. The girls get into the car and decide to get there first. The car speeds out of the garage and into the city streets, lit up by the night lights. Qingting is impressed by the car's good stability. Upon hearing her, Xinuo tells her to get some of the resources she needs for her car through the wealthy fans in her live stream. She even shows her the way to use her bodily charms to get the fans hooked. According to her, if Qingqing drops her standards, those big shots will send many rockets. Feeling embarrassed, Qingqing reminds Xinuo that her audience is only made up of females. Regardless, Xinuo doesn't hesitate to show how she'd become a full-time housewife if a rich guy wanted to marry her. She suddenly feels insulted by Gao Wen because the girl isn't saying anything. The dancer then explains that she'll be at the mercy of such a person if she can't be financially independent. She doesn't want to feel the need to be on guard at all times. Xinuo gets upset, feeling like Gao Wen's live streams are even more provocative than anyone else's. Regardless, Gao Wen only wants to make as much money as she can and be self-reliant. Later on, they arrive at the location and head into the parking lot. As they head out of the car, Qingqing suggests that they double-check just to be sure that our hero didn't send them to the wrong location. Xinuo also agrees, saying that it would be humiliating if they enter such an esteemed restaurant and leave because they don't have reservations. Gao Wen decides to call Xinguang. It rings for a bit, but our boy doesn't answer. Xinuo quickly blames her friend for being close to someone who's just trying to show off. On the other hand, Gao Wen feels that our hero might just be busy. Xinuo suggests that they should head upstairs and check, but she's only doing this to see her friend make a fool of herself. As they head into the elevator, Gao Wen thinks about how frugal Xinguang is. She hopes that our MC isn't joking around. If not, she'll have to be the one treating them. When they arrive on the restaurant floor, she sneakily looks around the corner searching for our protagonist. She keeps trying to call, but Xinguang isn't picking up. While dialing his number again, a waitress approaches her and asks if she has a reservation. While she's too shocked to speak, Xinuo quickly answers the waitress. Gao Wen then tells the lady their reservation should be under Xinguang's name. Considering how low our hero's salary was, Xinuo is eager to see how her friend maneuvers this situation. However, the waitress lets them know that our MC has been waiting for them for a while. Upon hearing this, Xinuo's mind is blown, and she wonders if this is real. As the waitress guides them to their seat, Xinuo starts to feel envious and jealous of Gao Wen because her friend is in the top position in the company while she's left in second. She feels that the protagonist will lose all his money and the girl if he keeps this up. As they get to the elevator, the waitress ushers them in and clicks on the button to head to the 40th floor. Qingting becomes a bit more nervous as they go up, because the elevator is strictly for VIP customers. She explains that these VIP customers spend at least 10,000 to access the top floor viewing rooms. Upon hearing this, Xinuo concludes that they must be meeting someone with the same name as our hero. If it happens to be actually him, she can't wait to see how he handles the 3 of them. She feels our boy is just showing off and she is eager to see him get exposed. As they arrive on the 40th floor, the waitress happily shows them to their seats. As the girls go in, they notice that Xiongwang isn't there. Qingting decides they should take some pictures since they're already there. She decides it'll be better to take photos even if they don't eat, so it'll look like they did, but Xinuo just ignores her. With the photos, Qingting can just post them online, and no one will know if she snuck in or came to eat. Xinuo, on the other hand, is all upset because our boy isn't there to welcome them. Meanwhile, Qingting's eyes light up as she posts her pictures on social media for her fans. She wonders if she'll ever have the chance to come to such a luxurious place again. Xinuo asks Gao Wen if our MC has replied yet so that they don't end up making a fool of themselves. As the waitress knocks on our boy's room door, Gao Wen feels they might have gotten the wrong person. Xinuo is just about to celebrate her doubts when our hero suddenly walks in, apologizing for sleeping off. With his dashing looks, he meets the girls, hoping that they haven't been waiting for too long. He then tells the waitress to start serving the food. Gao Wen looks at our hero, left speechless and wondering if it's the same guy she saw earlier. Qingting notes how the protagonist is wearing a lot of expensive clothes, even highlighting how much the jacket costs. Seeing his expensive wear, Xinuo wonders if our boy is a hidden rich second generation. Her envy grows even more because she wishes she was in Gao Wen's position right now. Our hero goes ahead to greet Qingting, who he recognizes, but he has no idea who Xinuo is. She politely introduces herself, and he bluntly tells her that she looks different without her beauty filter. She doesn't seem offended and instead tells our MC that she's wearing light makeup, but she ends up biting her lips in anger. Gao Wen then mentions how her two colleagues wanted to join her after she got off work. Suddenly, a group of waiters walks into the room, each one holding different meals on their trays. Seeing how luxurious the dishes look, Gao Wen wonders why our boy is doing so much for them. Meanwhile, Qingting wonders if Xinguang quit his job to inherit a family business, but Gao Wen has no idea. Xinguang looks at the meal before him, wondering how anyone could even have an appetite for this. Qingting then kindly asks to take photos of the meals before they start eating. Our hero tells her to feel free and take as many pictures as she likes. While Qingting takes the photos, Xinuo asks Gao Wen if she's been keeping them in suspense all along, but the dancer has no idea what's going on either. Gao Wen notes that she's not close with our hero, but she is grateful for the marketing activities he has helped her with. She recalls how he usually carpooled with others and even took trains with discounts. Due to this, she suspects that he might be a low-profile rich kid, and he reveals his wealth so that a lady doesn't have to pay for the meal. Xinguang then asks the waitress if there's any other meal that's more filling. Qingting admires his daring nature because the meals mostly look good for pictures, but they aren't filling. The waitress then lists out a couple of large protein meals and also offers to have the chef customize the meal for them. However, none of these sound appealing to Xinguang, so he tells her to bring more of their imported crab and beef, and he also says they should cut the meat into chunks. Qingting is blown away by his actions. It's the first time she has seen someone order like this at a high-end restaurant. Nevertheless, Xinuo tells him that he doesn't need to go to a French restaurant if he wants to eat something else. She doubts our hero once again and thinks he might just be an imposter. Our hero goes ahead to order grilled kidneys and barbecued skewers and asks if they can be made. Sadly, the waitress tells him that they only have set menu items and they can't make his custom orders. Upon hearing this, he requests to see the manager, and the lady tells him to wait briefly. However, the waitress is beyond shocked by his request. Moments later, a fat man walks into the room and introduces himself as the manager. He then tells Xinguang that they can only serve French cuisine since they're a French restaurant. Xinuo is glad, seeing how our MC's request has been refused. Regardless, our hero isn't about to back down on what he wants. He offers to pay 300,000 yuan for the custom meal, and he'll even throw in 50,000 as a tip if the manager can make it happen. Upon hearing this, the manager and the girls are completely baffled. The man quickly agrees and asks Xinguang how well done he would like the kidneys. The protagonist decides to reward him for complying, even though he likes how defiant the manager looked earlier. The man then tells our MC to take his seat while he heads over to instruct the chef. The system then rewards our hero with 500,000 for standing his ground. After that, he tries to tell the girls that dining should be all about relaxing and eating well. Qingting quickly agrees because she can't wait to take photos and post them on social media. After a while, the waiters come in with our hero's meal. They set down the fine-looking dishes, and this time there's more than enough meat to go around. Qingting's mind is blown away, and she admits that money really does the talking. As she goes ahead to take pictures and post them, our hero politely asks the ladies to join him for dinner. After some time, we see that there's barely any food left on the table. Our hero then excuses himself to use the bathroom. As he leaves the table, the girls discuss how expensive his clothes and the meal are. Qingting suspects that he has a thing for Gao Wen, but the dancer feels that the protagonist only worked at their company to keep a low profile. However, Qingting doubts a rich second-generation kid just wants to experience life. Xinuo then asks Gao Wen if she likes Xinguang. Qingting's eyes spark up, thinking about how a rich kid just wants to spend money to have dinner with her friend. Xinuo, being her jealous self, suspects that Gao Wen already knows about our boy's background, and she tells her that it's unfair to keep such big news from them. However, Gao Wen tells them that she barely knows the guy, so she couldn't possibly have feelings for him. While her legs shake nervously, she assures her friends that she's never had private interactions with Xinguang before. She recalls how dedicated our MC was to his work, even working late hours sometimes. After hearing her, Zinuo decides to believe her friend for now. She still suspects our MC is faking everything since people tend to do this and even take out online loans just to get close to girls. On the other hand, Qingting feels they should commend our boy if he's been pretending to be poor all along. Zinuo proposes that they can use multiple ways to verify if the protagonist is really from a rich family. However, Gao Wen tells her it's a bit intrusive and that her actions aren't right at all. Regardless, the crazy redhead doesn't believe her friend is innocent either. She tells Gao Wen not to underestimate her value because some people will find it worth it to spend thousands on her. She also points out that this is how manipulative people act, and if this is the case, it could be very dangerous. Despite all her words, Gao Wen makes it clear that she has no plans to be in a romantic relationship with Xinguang. Zinuo tells her not to do anything and reminds her that her friends are just looking out for her. Later on, they get to the parking lot with our hero. There, Gao Wen hopes that Xinguang isn't actually faking his wealth and going down a dark path. Suddenly, Qingting asks our MC if he has a girlfriend. He tells her that he doesn't and that he's been a lone wolf since birth. She acts completely shocked when she hears this. Xinguang tells her that he's been focusing on his career ever since and never had time for dating. He feels like becoming a lovesick fool would just put him under too much stress, and he's definitely not stupid enough to put himself in that situation. The simple thought of it sends shivers down his spine. Looking at the time, Zinuo proposes that they go to the Fugue Bar, where she's a regular. She also sees it as a chance to meet some celebrities and network with them. Our hero then agrees to follow them. They get into Gao Wen's car and set off. Inside the car, Xinguang and Gao Wen remain speechless and look a bit anxious. However, our hero is thinking of how to use his capital to invest and even grow his own media company. Thanks to his experience, he'd definitely be able to succeed in the field and get acquainted with some celebrities. As they arrive at the bar, Zinuo tells them that she'll only be able to afford 2 drinks for each person because of the high prices. She hopes they don't mind, and they all agree to drink within her budget. In front of them, we see Xinguang's former boss surrounded by some hot women. Meanwhile, our protagonist is just really excited to visit such a famous bar. We see the bar popping off with loud music and everyone dancing to their heart's content. While everyone is trying to enjoy the night, our hero and his 3 girls are seated at a table by the side. Xinu orders a margarita and tells the others to order whatever they want. Gao Wen orders something with no alcohol because she still has to drive. They ask our MC what he wants, but he's too amazed by the bar because he's never been in one. Xinu calls his attention again and asks what he wants to order. He then tells her that anything they have will be fine for him. She decides to order a Long Island iced tea, but Qingting feels it's too strong and that she's going too far. Xinu reminds her friends that a bar is still a place to drink. As time goes on, the music gets louder and folks are still popping off on the dance floor. Xinu then mentions that she wants to try drinks at a bar known as Fuyu Bar. Upon hearing this, Gao Wen tells her to stop because she's doing too much. Regardless, Xinu wants to snap our boy back to reality if he's actually pretending to be rich. While she calls our hero's attention, he's too focused on meeting some influencers who could be potential business partners. Getting ignored pisses off Xinu, but our hero eventually answers her, and she suggests that they play dice. Curious, he asks how to play the game. As she slams the cover on the table, she proposes that they make the game exciting. She raises the stakes by saying that whoever loses has to take off a piece of clothing or pay 10,000 yuan. Xinguang lets out a heavy sigh and reminds her that he knows all about their registered information and skills. Due to this, he knows she's an expert at dice, and he asks her if she's trying to trick him into getting money. Xinu is left speechless after our MC exposes her. He calls her out on the spot for thinking that he's pretending to be rich, considering his history. He also lets her know that he can see the looks of disdain and suspicion in her eyes. Thanks to exposing her trap, the system rewards him with 1,000,000 yuan. After that, he lets them know that he's not from a rich family. Upon hearing this, Xinua quickly concludes that he's been pretending to be rich all along. However, our hero tells her to let him finish. He lets her know that he's rich and offers to give her 300,000 yuan if she leaves the bar without any clothes. Feeling embarrassed, Xinua tells him that he's going too far. Gao Wen calms him down, saying that her friend was just joking, so she decides they should just sit and play for some time. Still, Xinua opens her loud mouth, saying that no one will believe that he actually has that much money. Suddenly, our hero yells out that he'll treat everyone in the bar until they're all drunk. He whips out a golden card and offers to pay with it immediately. After paying, the bartender returns our hero's card and lets him know that the payment is complete. Everyone there is shocked at how much he's spending, and they all celebrate him, wishing him a long life of peace. The system goes ahead to reward him with 600,000 yuan for treating everyone. Xinua is once again left baffled after seeing that Xinguang actually has that much money. As he walks past her, he lets her know that he has no intention to make her respect him because people like her are insignificant to him. In the end, Xinua is left embarrassed as our hero returns to his seat. She returns to her seat, looking defeated and unable to utter a single word. Qingting tries to quietly talk to Gao Wen about the awkwardness. Suddenly, Xinua says she has something to do, so she decides to leave first. As she runs away with tears in her eyes, she nearly crashes into a waiter who's holding drinks. On the other hand, our hero continues to roll dice and tells the others that they should keep playing since he'll be paying for the night. A girl who recognizes Gao Wen suddenly walks up to them and asks if the dancer is trying to drink her sorrows away. She tries to provoke the dancer by talking about how her top fan is weak, but Gao Wen would rather talk during working hours. Regardless, the girl calls out Wen for pretending to be innocent and asks why she's doing that. Gao Wen slaps the girl's hand away, reminding her that it's none of her business. While the pink-haired girl continues to be a nuisance, our hero remains silent. The girl even sits beside Gao Wen and says that they should use the chance to live stream. She greets her fans and tells them that she just met Gao Wen at the bar. She turns the camera to the dancer, pointing out that Gao Wen doesn't like her and asks her audience to help out. Suddenly, Gao Wen starts getting a lot of messages from fans, and they all want her to engage in a once-in-a-lifetime showdown. Meanwhile, the pink-haired girl has already planned how to become the top dance streamer, thanks to the big shots that are ready to support her. There's only a little time left for them to make their move. Gao Wen then excuses herself to take a call. Her boss tells her to start streaming, but Wen isn't in the best condition for this. However, her boss doesn't give her much of a choice, so she reluctantly agrees. As she gets back, her rival lets the fans know that she has returned. The girl asks if Wen is scared, but the dancer is ready to begin the showdown. The two streamers set up their cameras and start their stream battle. They start showing off their sick dancing moves, but Qingting notices that Gao Wen is falling behind. The other streamer keeps pushing as hard as she can to win. Gao Wen's performance is very poor, causing fans to support the other streamer, Shu Yi, instead. In the comments section, the fans talk about how a guy named Z is the only one who can really support Gao Wen. Looking at the comments from his phone, our hero realizes that the other streamer is playing dirty. While the fans look down on Gao Wen, she suddenly receives a rocket gift. She is shocked to see that our MC actually sent her a rocket, so she assures him that she'll try hard. He sends up to 4 rockets, which she deeply appreciates. While she thanks him, the other fans are confused as to what's going on. Gao Wen's opponent feels bummed out and wonders who her secret big brother could be. The fans then encourage this big brother to keep sending gifts if he has more. The pink-haired girl starts to panic, feeling like all the money spent on her has been wasted. On the other hand, Gao Wen is overwhelmed by the number of gifts she's getting. The fans wonder who this big brother is, and some suspect that the agency is doing a forceful promotion. However, considering that the platform takes most of the cut, it doesn't make sense for the agency to pay so high for a promotion. Meanwhile, the protagonist wonders if there's any point in continuing their battle. At the same time, the system gives him 5 million yuan for his extravagant ways. Qingting is shocked that the big brother is still giving out gifts, and she wonders if someone's child is handling their phone. However, it's just our hero who's doing his best to support Gao Wen. The rockets are so many that Gao Wen asks for a moment to catch her breath. However, Xingwang just keeps the rockets coming. Meanwhile, in Shu Yi's group, we see one of the big shots telling his people that they can't let this slide. As they start sending her rockets, Shu Yi is glad to see that they've started making a move. With a cute and charming expression, she thanks them for the rockets. Considering her top fan wanted private videos, she's sure that the guy won't miss this chance to support her. In a few moments, Shu Yi is showered with dozens of rocket gifts. Regardless, Xingwang isn't fazed by this. With his fast hands and deep pockets, he sends 100 rockets to Gao Wen, and in return the system rewards him with 10 million yuan. Thanks to his gifts, Gao Wen emerges as the winner of the competition. As she thanks, she can't believe her eyes when she still gets 1,000 rocket gifts. In return, Xingwang gets rewarded millions of yuan for being the top donor. Gao Wen humbly thanks the big brother for bringing millions of live viewers to her small stream. However, she also reminds him not to waste all of his money on her. Her words touch the hearts of her fans, causing them to be more interested in her streams. On the other hand, Shiyu is pissed off because all her efforts have been wasted. Gao Wen's achievement is something that even top streamers on the platform have never achieved. With how late it is, our hero is tired and ready to hit the hay. He then tells Shiyu not to give up and to keep working hard to surpass her rival someday. Meanwhile, Qingting tells Gao Wen that our boy's words must have made Shiyu upset. Lu Shiyu stands speechless, wondering what to make of her situation. At the same time, our hero takes his leave with the girls. As our boy leaves the bar, Qingting mentions how Shiyu's plan blew up in her face, thanks to Xingwang. It's a memorable day for her because she got to see the super-rich Xingwang as the #1 tycoon on the Xuanyin platform. She notices Gao Wen isn't excited and asks why. The dancer then tells her friend that she feels unworthy of all the gifts given to her, and it makes her a bit uncomfortable. Qingting, on the other hand, tells her it doesn't matter, and she even wants to get close to this big brother. She then decides to send the guy a private message. As she sends it, Xingwang quickly receives the notification on his phone. As his phone beeps, the girls are shocked to hear the sound on his phone at the same time. Qingting immediately recognizes the app's notification sound, and even Gao Wen starts to have her suspicions. Xingwang tries to play it off, saying that it's just a coincidence and nothing more. He tells them that he's still dealing with a couple of private messages after quitting his job. However, Gao Wen notes that he spent millions of yuan just some moments ago. Xingwang admits he has a bit of money but denies having up to millions. Qingting still suspects him, considering that he has a Wang in his name as well. After that, Gao Wen offers to drop him off wherever he lives, but he decides to take a cab since he lives quite far away. Suddenly, she hears a familiar voice calling out her name. It happens to be our MC's former boss, who is happy to run into the streamer. On the other hand, Gao Wen isn't happy at all to see him. He recognizes Xingwang and assumes that the streamer invited him to come to the bar. She then points out that it was the protagonist who actually took her out to dinner and paid for everything. The guy's brain finds it hard to process what she said for a moment. He assumes that she has fallen for our boy and is trying to cover up for him. He even points out how everyone's bill in the bar was covered by an unknown person, so he doubts it could have been Xingwang. He starts talking down on Xingwang, saying that he must have used sweet words to charm Gao Wen. Qingting also comes in and lets the manager know that it was Xingwang who actually paid for everyone. However, he suddenly lashes out at her because he didn't give her the right to speak. He starts saying that Qingting's fans are all fake, and this completely shatters her heart. She can't believe her ears. Manager He Shui tells her that the company spent money to buy fake followers for her and that no one would actually want to watch her. He calls her a money-losing asset, which makes her feel more horrible about herself. His harsh words only serve to make Qingting very furious. After talking down on her, he moves to Gao Wen, reminding her that she said she didn't want to be a dance streamer anymore. He offers to try and get an acting role for her if she does one more favor for him. Gao Wen is completely disgusted as the manager asks her to spend a night with him. Suddenly, our boy grabs his hand and tells the drunk fool to show some respect. The manager takes back his hand and calls out Xingwang for trying to act like some kind of hero. He calls our MC's clothes a knockoff and tells him to take his stinking self and leave. Xingwang doesn't say a word as the insults are hurled at him. Gao Wen looks at his flashy clothes for a moment, then tells the manager that she'll terminate their contract if he harasses her again. However, the manager laughs at her little threats and reminds her that she still has a year left in her contract. If she terminates, she'll have to pay 10 million as a penalty fee. Regardless, she assures him that with her savings, she can afford the fee. The manager gets pissed off and starts insulting all the influencers, saying that none of them are pure. He lets her know that the company won't release her even if she pays the fee. He doesn't think any reasonable person would easily let go of a cash cow. Not only that, but he also threatens to blacklist her in the industry, and this really scares her. Our boy moves in to defend her and says he'll buy the media company if she can't leave. With this, he'll make sure that the manager will be the one to leave. The manager then becomes speechless after hearing this. Manager he finds the MC quite impressive and then proceeds to poke his shoulder. With a mocking gesture, he says he'll just wait for the protagonist to buy the company. He spits at him out of anger and finally leaves. As the manager leaves, Qingting's body starts trembling and her eyes fill up with tears as she wonders if her fans are really fake. Gao Wen turns and sees her friend in despair. Qingting's heart is broken as she questions if all the big shots that gave her money were just hired by the company. Gao Wen grabs her friend's hand and tells her that it couldn't be true. She tries to comfort the girl, saying that the manager, Shui, was just trying to make her feel bad about herself and her skills. She pats Qingting's head and tells her not to be swayed by the foolish manager's words. Our MC watches the two friends, feeling a bit bad for what they're going through. Gao Wen then thanks him for standing up for her. She also thanks her friend for helping out, even though they got Shui angry. Qingting wipes her tears and thanks her friend for helping her to see the manager's true nature as well. Suddenly, she loses her temper and starts cursing out Shui. Gao Wen approaches Xingwang and tells him that he didn't have to stand up for her. However, our boy tells her it's fine because he just wanted to let out his anger since he doesn't like Shui either. After letting out a sigh of relief, she extends her hand to shake Xingwang, hoping that they meet again, and she wishes him well. Xingwang is stunned by her gesture for a moment, but he shakes her and tells her to take care of herself as well. After that, the girls get into the car, and our MC watches as they zoom off. He then whips out his phone to check all the notifications he got. He opens up his account balance, and there's about 100 million yuan sitting there. With this, Xingwang achieves his goal of becoming a millionaire. Thinking about the best luxury, he decides to get a plane ticket back home. He opens up the booking site to see how much the flight will cost, and it's a lot more expensive than the green train he took before. Regardless, he decides to buy a ticket, splurging his money and spending 4,000 yuan. In return, the system awards him almost 10,000 yuan. The scene switches to the dorm room, and as the sun rises the next day, we see our boy sleeping like someone with no worries in life. Someone starts banging on his door loudly, reminding him that it's time to pay rent. He wakes up to all the noise and wonders why the landlady always comes a week earlier to collect rent. Xingwang tries to cover his ears, but he can clearly hear the nagging voice through his pillows. It's still 6 in the morning, but he has no other choice than to get up now. He gets to the other and lets the lady know that she can stop banging so loudly. He then opens the door to see the nagging landlady, who wishes that Xingwang was a bit more responsible. Our boy quickly scans the tag on her neck and lets her know that he has paid for 1 year's rent. The lady is completely shocked by this, but she confirms that she has received the money. She wonders how our boy can suddenly pay a year's rent when he used to pay monthly before. She checks her phone and notices that Xinguang even added an extra 400 yuan. He tells her to take it as a service fee for not disturbing him about the rent earlier in the year. After that, he slams his door shut in order to go back to sleep. The landlady remains there, completely speechless and confused as to what just happened. Meanwhile, Xinguang decides to sleep for 3 more hours before heading to the airport for his flight. His roommate wonders if he suddenly hit the jackpot because it's unusual for him to pay for a year. However, Xinguang ignores him and continues sleeping. Due to his actions, the system suddenly rewards him with a villa in Swan Bay. Our boy's eyes quickly spark open and he shoots up from his bed. In his hands, he sees the keys to not just any house but a villa. At the same time, his roommate is shocked beyond words. Xinguang quickly gets dressed and jumps down from the top bunk. As he lands, his roommate wonders where he's rushing off to. The MC runs out while telling the guy that he's headed for the airport and won't be back for a while. The roommate tries to remind him to pack some bags, but the protagonist says there's no need. Right now, he's set on getting his mom a VIP hospital room. The scene switches to the hospital, where Xinguang's dad tells the mom that their son sent a lot of money for the medical fees. The mother hopes that her son isn't doing anything illegal. However, the man assures his wife that their son would be the last person to indulge in such. Suddenly, our MC bursts into the hospital room. Feeling very worried, he quickly asks how his mom is doing. The woman assures her son that she's fine, but she needs to have surgery. She then tells the dad to give Xinguang an apple. Xinguang's dad hands over an apple while asking how his work has been going. The MC then tells his dad that he quit his job. Upon hearing this, his parents are completely shocked. However, they assure their son that he'll find something better. But for now, he needs to get some good rest at home. Xinguang is happy to have parents who understand his decisions and act as his safe space. He then asks his father if he has settled the medical bills. The man tells his son that he borrowed money for the bills and promises to send back the 100,000 yuan that Xinguang sent. Regardless, our boy tells his dad to keep it and offers to pay back whoever he borrowed from as well. His father nervously tells him he borrowed from relatives, but our boy is determined to know which relative, hoping it's not the uncle and aunt he's thinking about. As he leaves furiously, he tells his dad to pay them back quickly. His dad insists that he shouldn't spend the money recklessly, and he assures Xinguang that he'll pay back the relatives soon. Xinguang's mother starts crying and blaming herself for being sick in the first place. She knows how hard her son works and the kind of conditions he lives in just to send money back home. She also knows about his meager salary. The MC tries to play it down, saying that it's not as hard as she thinks. He assures that he has earned a substantial amount from his part-time job, and he decides to tell the doctor to bring the best specialist for her. After that, he lets them know that he'll be going to his uncle's house to repay the debt. After that, he leaves the hospital and hitches a ride to Hutong Road. As the cart speeds off on the bumpy road, our MC wonders why the road has gotten so bad. Considering the roads should have been repaired 2 years ago, he asks the driver what's going on. The driver tells him that the contractor ran away with half the money, leaving the road all unfinished. The protagonist is disappointed at how lawless these people can be. If his parents didn't support his education, he would have been stuck in this horrible town. Later on, he arrives at his uncle's residence and pays the bike man. Xinguang looks at the building, feeling furious at how his relatives are living while his family suffers. His hand trembles in anger as he thinks about how they took all the money from his grandfather's compensation. With his boiling anger, he bangs on the gate. A red-haired girl known as Wang Ju steps out to see who it is. She is shocked to see Xinguang, and he also wonders what the girl is doing there. Xinguang asks Wang Ju what she's doing at his uncle's house. As she tries to answer, a guy steps out, puts his hands around her neck, and asks the MC where else his sister-in-law could possibly be. As our boy sees the situation, he walks past them and asks where his uncle is so he can repay the money. Wang Ju wonders if he is acting cold because he's hung up on her. The other guy smacks her and reminds her that she's about to be his wife. She tells him that she just finds his tackiness fascinating, especially for someone who claims to live in the big city. She compliments the countryside and her to-be husband to make him feel better. The scene switches to our boy, who walks into the room and sees his uncle playing cards with guests. The man introduces him to the guests and tells the person that his nephew works in the city. The other 2 old men assume that Xinguang must be earning a lot in the big city and doing well for himself. Wang Ju's fiancée walks in and tells them that Xinguang barely earns enough and is more like the ladies who feed pigs in his village. He tries to provoke Xinguang, asking if he has enough money to match what they pay for feeding pigs. Despite the provocations, our boy ignores him and lets his uncle know that he's just here to repay the debt. Meanwhile, the old men are happily enjoying their game. Xinguang's uncle tells him not to rush, but the protagonist assures the man that he's doing all right. He mentions how Xinguang is working too hard to take care of his family, but Xinguang insists on repaying the money. His uncle then agrees and asks his son, Dakai, to bring a red book from the cabinet. While handing over the book, Dakai tells the protagonist that he doesn't want to see him under so much pressure. Even Dakai's dad wonders why Xinguang is trying to be so clear-cut when they're family. Moments later, our boy transfers the money with some interest and asks his uncle to confirm if he has gotten it. The old man checks his phone and is completely shocked to see that our boy actually sent the money. He turns towards Xinguang and asks where he got the money. As Xinguang steps out, he tells the old man that he obviously got it from working in the city. On the other hand, Dakai assumes that the MC's family is just trying to save face, and he thinks Xinguang must have emptied his savings to pay the debt. Wang Ju tells her fiancé that she wants to clear up the air between her and Xinguang since she's about to become his sister-in-law. She meets up with Xinguang outside and tells him that there's no need to act like they don't know each other. She reminds him that they were childhood friends and it'll be best if he stops thinking about her. Our boy is blown away and confused by her words. She tells him that it'll be bad for his reputation if people find out about his feelings. However, Xinguang scoffs at her, letting her know that there's no way he could like her. Wang Ju is stunned as he tells her to take a good look in the mirror. Wang Ju gets infuriated after hearing what Xinguang just said to her. Xinguang tells her that she's not special, despite all the activities they did in their childhood. He shakes his head in disappointment after seeing that she's no different from those who look down on poor people, but he decides it's none of his business. She feels like he's belittling her because he can't have her, so she decides to act like the bigger person, telling Xinguang to learn and grow up. Regardless, the protagonist is just left confused. He walks out on her and tells her that she's crazy. Wang becomes more furious and starts yelling at our boy, saying that he's a good-for-nothing grunt who's working for someone else. She admits that she looks down on the poor and prefers to be married to a rich guy and live in a good house, unlike his cramped, tiny room. She also says that all the medical fees he's paying will be useless, and that our boy should be grateful that she's being polite to him. Xinguang gets upset and asks if she's finally said enough. He lets her know that she's not all that and that toads aren't as narcissistic as her. At this point, Wang Ju is just upset, but she can't think of any good comebacks. He reminds her that he's much more diligent than her boyfriend and that he's much better than people like her. Lastly, she needs to look in the mirror and stop acting like a deranged person. Thanks to his words, the system rewards him with an apartment in Bu Town. However, he sees it as an empty promise since there's no hint of the apartment being redeveloped. After that, he grabs Wang Ju's hand and tells her to stay locked up with her boyfriend before bidding her farewell. While our boy walks through the town, a car comes speeding from behind. As it dashes past him, it drenches him with mud. The driver ends up being Dakai, who says he's in a rush to a construction site. Apparently, he's the one in charge of road construction in the town currently, but it's obvious he has no idea how to do his job. Before driving off, he proposes that the MC should come to work for him if he can't find a job. Meanwhile, Xinguang now realizes why all the roads in town are so bad. He makes up his mind to serve justice and do some good for the people. Later on, he heads to the city construction bureau in Bixia Town. One of the workers there asks our boy to come over for tea whenever he's free. As he walks out, Xinguang agrees to the man's request. Thanks to his good deeds, the system rewards him with 100 property deeds. Upon seeing this, he can't believe it. The system confirms that it's 100 properties and asks if it's too small for him. However, Xinguang isn't trying to blame the system for anything. In fact, he feels like all the properties in the world are about to become his with the way things are going. The next day, we see our boy back at the hospital, peeling some apples for his mom. A few moments later, the doctor walks in, tells them the surgery was successful, and says that he has arranged for Xinguang's mom to be discharged. However, Xinguang tells the doctor to give his mom some more time to rest, and he also wants to arrange a comprehensive examination for her. With a grim expression, the doctor tells him that her discharge has already been processed. He then tells the nurses to pack the patient's things quickly. Completely pissed off, our boy stands in their way, asking the doctor what he means. His mom, feeling worried, tries to calm down her son. The doctor gets impatient with our boy and tells him to leave quickly and stop taking up medical resources that others should be using. As Xinguang slams his knife on the table, the doctor becomes frightened. He threatens to call security to handle Xinguang if he tries to cause trouble. Xinguang's mom tries to assure her son that she's feeling much better, but our boy knows that her surgery wounds haven't healed yet. The doctor even tries to tell him to listen to his mom like a good son should. He also tells the nurses to clean up well so that there are no traces of poverty in the room. Our MC's hands tremble in anger as the doctor takes his leave. He tells his mom to finish her apple while he goes to take care of something, but she begs him not to fight with the doctor. Regardless, he promises not to use any force. The scene switches to the physician's office, where the doctor is telling a client that the arrangements for his friend's wife are all set. He tells the client how even a sprained ankle should be taken very seriously. We then see that Dr. Li is speaking to Dakai, who commends him for working fast. The doctor tells him that Xinguang can't be compared to him because Dakai's family has been supporting the hospital while our boy's family is poor. Dacia then promises to treat him to dinner after everything is done. As he drops the phone, he feels like he has gotten the upper hand on Xinguang for trying to cause trouble on his turf. Even the doctor is impressed by the way Dakai handles things. Meanwhile, our boy, who's eavesdropping, finds out that the doctor has been bribed. He wonders if money can really make impossible things come true. He heads over to the director's office, and as he knocks, the director tells him to come in. As Xinguang walks in, the director asks who he is. Our boy then tells him that he's just an ordinary patient. Upon hearing this, the man lets him know that he doesn't see patients directly. The MC takes a seat and proposes donating a building to the hospital. However, the director ignores him and tells him to just go to the front desk for any consultations. Suddenly, the old man's brain clicks, and he asks our boy to repeat himself. He wonders if Xinguang knows how much it costs to donate a building. Looking at his outfit, he doubts that our boy actually has what it takes to donate a building. Nevertheless, Xinguang tells the director that it's no problem and that he's ready to get the process started. The amount it'll cost him barely means anything to him now. Seeing that the hospital tends to get cramped, Xinguang wants to donate a building to make things more convenient for patients. He also wants the director to investigate any corrupt practices in the hospital. The director tells him that there's no need for baseless suspicions, and he feels like Xinguang is just there to report them. However, our boy explains that people are taking dirty money in order to give special treatment to other people. The old man, who has been managing the hospital for 10 years, tells Xinguang that his workers never take bribes. The MC then explains how his mother is being kicked out of her room for someone else who just has a sprained ankle. The director doubts him, saying that he's making things up because this doesn't align with their normal procedures. Completely furious, he tells Xinguang to make up stories with reasonable facts. The MC tells the director to calm down and listen to a recording first. The man takes the device, plays the tape, and hears the discussion between Dr. Li and Dakai. Regardless, he still suspects that the recording might be fake or edited. The protagonist tells him that even though the recording might be fake, the building he's about to donate is real. He makes a phone call to the city construction unit and tells them he wants to set up a new building for the hospital. He also asks the engineer to come to the director's office to discuss the details of the project. Seeing that the man still doubts him, he asks the engineer to talk with him for a bit. Xinguang hands over the phone, telling the man not to let his stubbornness cost him a new building. The old man reluctantly takes the phone and introduces himself as Dean Liu from the county hospital. The man hears Engineer Kang's voice, who tells him that he's lucky to be getting a free building. He finally understands that our boy is actually rich and he isn't making things up. Later on, Xinguang tries to address the recording, but the director tells him that there isn't enough evidence. As our boy proposes to donate 2 buildings, the old man can't believe his ears. On his way out, he tells the director to investigate the matter well and restore fair opportunities for ordinary patients. The old man stops him and asks for his name. However, Xinguang tells him that he's just a regular kid from a farming family. He tells the director to write Messenger of Justice if he needs a name to use. After that, our boy leaves the office. The next second, Director Liu picks up the phone and asks for the records of all patients who were discharged recently. Back in the hospital room, a nurse tells Dr. Li that the dean is waiting for him outside the ward. Moments later, we see the doctor begging like a wimp because he doesn't want to get fired. However, the dean refuses to listen, and he tells the lousy doctor that the county hospital can't afford to keep someone like him. The next day in Dakai's home, we see the guy getting a massage from Wangju as she tells him that they'll be able to buy a house in the city soon. Suddenly, a guy angrily bursts into the room and yells at Dakai, telling him how his wife has been asked to leave the hospital. Dakai is shocked and quickly gets up from his chair, trying to understand what's going on. He tries to calm down the guy and says he'll make a phone call to know the situation. He then dials Dr. Li's number, but sadly, the number is unavailable. At the Hong family courtyard, Xinguang and his mother watch some workers bringing in new equipment. Xinguang's mom feels all these things must have been expensive, but our boy assures her that they're all being provided by the hospital as a way to compensate them. He feels good that he gets to do good deeds without seeking recognition. Suddenly, Dakai comes into their home while yelling at our boy. He angrily talks about how he spent more than 10,000 yuan to get a hospital bed and all his efforts have been wasted. The MC's mother then demands to know what he's talking about. Meanwhile, Xinguang is happy to see the guy expose himself. He quickly calls out Dakai for being the one responsible for getting his mother kicked out of the hospital. Caught in a tough spot, Dakai tries to say that it's normal to discharge someone who's feeling better. He tries to call out Xinguang for pulling strings as well, but the MC tells him that Director Liu is compensating them for what happened. Regardless, Dakai doesn't believe him. Instead, he starts talking about how much he has spent to get connections, and now he wants Xinguang to take responsibility for his losses. Considering that he's a so-called high-income earner, the protagonist doesn't see any reason for him to extort money from a poor guy like himself. He throws back the same words that Dakai used against him earlier, leaving the guy speechless. As he walks away with his mom, he says that karma is finally catching up to Dakai for all his bad deeds. Dakai starts to doubt that Xinguang is responsible and decides that it may have just been bad luck. As he leaves the courtyard, he tells the protagonist that he'll die poor. However, our boy sees him as an evil and stupid guy. As he continues his work with his mom, she is worried about Dakai retaliating against them, but Xinguang wants to know how the guy will try to get back at them. Moments later, Dakai speeds past a car and suspects that the person he saw is manager Kong, but he doubts Kong would come to such a remote place. The truck then pulls up to the front of the Han courtyard. Kong shows up with some catches he made while thanking our boy for his help. Xinguang freaks out as he sees the guy and tries to pretend that he helped Kang fix his broken-down car. Kong quickly catches on and plays along while wondering if our boy is hiding his identity from his parents. As Xinguang heads off with Kong, he tells his mom that he has something to handle with the manager. He then quietly tells Kang that he wants to keep a low profile, and the man agrees to play along. The two of them continue acting weird as they walk inside the house. The scene switches to Dakai, who tells his boss that he doesn't need to be involved in the road repairs for now. However, the next thing he hears is too shocking for him to believe. He quickly slams on the gas, causing his tires to screech on the road. He nervously tells Zhao that he has already scheduled workers and that this sudden news might cause lost wages. Regardless, Zhao tells him that there are new rules, and his team didn't pass the qualification review. After that, Mr. Zhao cuts the call, leaving Dakai in a panicked state. Completely stunned and speechless, the phone drops out of his hand. Meanwhile, Mr. Zhao did this because Dakai offended manager Kang. Later on, Dakai enters a lounge, carrying a bag of goods, while trying to remind Zhao that the construction job was supposed to be subcontracted to him. We then see Zhao having a good time with ladies by his side. Dakai offers to give Zhao 40% of the profit instead of the agreed 30%. However, Zhao looks at him with a disgusted expression. On the other hand, Dakai assumes that the man is just looking for how to get more money. He offers to go through the qualification review at another company in order not to put Zhao in a tough situation. Upon hearing this, Zhao becomes furious and pushes the goods away from the table while telling Dakai that the documents can't be forged. Dakai picks up the items while trying to calm the man down. But Zhao thinks the guy is looking down on him. Feeling really anxious, Dakai offers to give him 50% instead. However, Zhao says that Dakai tried to harm him, so he yells at the guy to get out. Dakai gets kicked out by security, and he is told to never let Zhao see him again. In another room at the nightclub, the security knocks on the door, and Zhao is invited inside. There, he sees Xinguang and Kong waiting for him. Mr. Zhao quickly thanks our boy for being kind enough to fund the town's road construction. Nevertheless, Xinguang just sees him as a typical hypocrite. Our boy only cares about making things easier for his parents since they're getting old. He asks Zhao if the road will deteriorate in less than a year, and the man nervously tells him it won't. He promises that the roads will meet Xinguang's expectations. After that, the system gives our boy a bonus. The protagonist realizes that the system has been quiet for 2 days because it was planning something big. The scene then switches to Xinguang's uncle's house. There, we see Wang Ju yelling at Dakai for being a lazy bum and not doing any of the chores. She confesses that she would have chosen Xinguang if she knew how useless Dakai was. Upon hearing this, her boyfriend gets pissed off and threatens her to repeat herself. Out of anger, she pokes his chest and calls him a useless person. She says she would kneel before Mr. Zhao if she were him. As she leaves to look for Xinguang, Dakai clenches his fist in anger. He quickly grabs her and tosses her to the ground, yelling and asking if she wants to get beaten up. Meanwhile, Engineer Kong hands over some papers to Xinguang's parents and tells them to go over them. Then, they ask him what the documents mean. Kong explains that he needs to use part of their land for the road construction, and in return, he'll be building a house for them. Xinguang's parents are too stunned to speak when they hear this. On the other hand, Kong offers to add monetary compensation if it's not enough for them. However, the MC's parents are wondering when their village became so lucky. As his mom tells Kang the house will be enough, Xinguang's dad calls him to come and hear the good news. A few days later, Xinguang arrives at the bus station, and his parents follow him to see him off. His mom tells him not to overwork himself while he's there. He hugs her dearly and promises to look after himself well. After that, he bids them farewell. The scene switches to the first-class cabin, where a girl suddenly recognizes Xinguang. It turns out to be Gao Wen, and she wonders what he's doing there. He tells her that he's just returning from seeing his parents in his hometown. She apologizes for not asking about his mother earlier and hopes she's better now. While he tells her that his mother is recovering well, she reveals that she's on a business trip. According to her, the company wants her to change her image, so she's back working on a revitalization campaign for rural areas. Regardless, they both seem glad to have run into each other. She then starts asking Xinguang about his plans for applying to other companies. She also says that he doesn't have to talk about it if he's uncomfortable. However, he tells her that he's currently thinking of starting his own business. Just to be petty and annoying, he has rented a building right across from his former company. Gao Wen offers to help him with some photographers and editors if he needs them. Suddenly, she gets a call and excuses herself to answer the phone. As she answers, manager He Shui starts yelling at her for ignoring his messages, and he tells her to get online immediately. She reminds him that she's about to board a plane, but he tells her to do it before she boards. Still, she's insistent on making use of her rest time, but He Shui lets her know that she has no time to rest in the company. He tells her to stream for 10 hours if she ends up missing her flight. Gao Wen gets furious and tells him that she's been earning more than enough for the company already. Regardless, he doesn't care, because her contract with them hasn't ended yet. He threatens to consider it a breach of contract if she continues arguing. Xingwang then approaches her and figures that she's having a hard time with He Shui. The manager hears our boy's voice and assumes that Gao Wen is having a good time with him. She quickly tells him to stop spreading false rumors. Besides, she has already sent photos of her round-trip ticket to the company chat. However, he tells her to prove it by going live immediately. At this point, Gao Wen is completely infuriated with the guy. Xingwang suddenly grabs her phone and offers to pay the penalty fee for her. He also tells the manager that the call is being recorded and he can sue him for defamation. As the manager starts yelling and telling Xingwang to stop acting rich, our boy hangs up on him. Gao Wen hopes that Xingwang isn't really about to pay the fee because she doesn't feel she deserves it. She explains that He Shui is the main problem, and this will cause them to ask for an exorbitant fee. She says she can pay it off with the money she has saved up, but the protagonist tells her that he's doing this for his own benefit as well. He tells her that he's starting a new company across from his former workplace, and he needs familiar people to help him get started. With this, he can simply poach their top talent. After hearing this, Gao Wen wonders just who our boy is. He offers to use half of the monthly earnings to pay off the penalty fee, and after it's done, she can have 30% of the earnings. She commends our boy for being so kind-hearted. He wonders if the ratio is too low, but she assures him that it's fine. She even feels it's too high and that he's doing too much to help her. Gao Wen loses herself in thoughts while thinking of how the 30% is more than enough. Our boy calls her attention and says he's repaying her kindness for not looking down on him. In addition, he can tell that she'll have a bright future if she switches jobs to help him. He also believes that she'll be able to bring more money than the breach of contract fee. Gao Wen is speechless and starts feeling very emotional, seeing how Xingwang wants to help her. Nonetheless, she happily agrees to help him. The scene then switches to the office building area. There, our boy walks in with Gao Wen as they approach He Shui in his office. The manager starts saying that Gao Wen shouldn't believe what a man says in bed. He tells her that she'll be disgraced if Xingwang can't pay the fee. On the other hand, Xingwang tells him to hurry up and call the legal department so that he can terminate Gao Wen's contract. As the manager gets up, he asks our boy if he knows Gao Wen's worth. Seeing that our boy has money, he reminds Xingwang that it can all be gone in a flash if he's not careful, and his life will be ruined if he ends up in debt. The protagonist slaps his hand away and tells the manager not to worry about it. He wonders if He Shui is scared that he can actually afford the fee. The manager is left speechless and trembling in his shoes. He nervously coughs and tells the MC that he can't be bothered since the company isn't his. Regardless, our boy is worried about the guy's future. He Shui loses his temper and reminds Xingwang that he used to be a dog under him. Upon hearing this, Xingwang threatens to sue him for calling him a dog. He also reminds the manager about the company's laws that prevent him from defaming either party even after contract termination. Moments later, they arrive in the conference room where Gao Wen and He Shui are asked to sign the contracts. Xingwang notices that Gao Wen is feeling a bit uneasy. The manager gives her one last chance to rethink her decisions, or she'll regret it. Gao Wen angrily signs the paper, not caring for his concern. After she's done signing, the manager quickly asks when the payment will be made. Xingwang tells him to check the account, and he wonders if our boy is just joking. However, Xingwang tells the idiot to check with the finance department. After that, he starts to admire the view from the top floor. He turns around and tells the manager that they have a long future ahead of them. The system recognizes his actions and rewards him with approximately 100 million yuan. Outside the office building, someone starts yelling Xingwang and Gao Wen's names. They turn around and see Qingting running towards them. After hearing of her friend's resignation, she hopes they'll still be able to meet in the future. Gao Wen suddenly becomes nervous, not knowing what to say, but our boy assures them that they'll still meet. He points over to their new office building and tells Qingting that she can even come for lunch in their cafeteria. While Qingting is puzzled by what he said, our boy excuses himself to take a call. He sees the name is Xingni Liang, but he doesn't remember who that is. When he answers, the person tells him that his property certificate is ready for pickup and they'll be looking forward to his visit. He then remembers that he still needs to inspect his villa. He tells Gao Wen to take some time to rest and plan their business while he goes to take care of other things, and she happily agrees. As he gets into a taxi, Gao Wen tells Qingting that our boy paid her termination fee. The girl is shocked to see that the protagonist is actually a wealthy tycoon. The scene then switches to a different building, where the lady who is called Xingwang tells her people to make everything ready for their VIP. The man over the phone agrees to have the reception ready. The man gathers all the workers and tells them to look good as they head to the entrance to welcome Xing Wang. He also tells his assistant that they can't be careless. She asks the man, Manager Wang, if they have a photo so that they don't greet the wrong person. However, the manager just tells her that once the protagonist comes, his presence will light up the place. He calls her out for lacking basic judgment despite being in the sales field for a while. He then wipes the wall and notices dust on his hands, so he tells the workers to start cleaning again. Later on, the MC's taxi arrives at the building and he steps out in his casual clothes. He's completely impressed by how the real estate building looks. He sees all the men in suits outside and wonders who they're all waiting for. The men can't even tell that their VIP customer has arrived. They ignore Xing Wang as he casually walks in. As he walks into the reception, he doesn't see a single person, so he starts to suspect that the whole thing is a scam. Looking closer at the villa plan, he is impressed with the landscaping of the place. The salesgirl then approaches him and offers to show him around. Manager Wang refers to her as Irene and tells her to come over for a moment. He asks her why she's receiving other clients instead of watching the entrance for their VIP. He tells her to clear everyone out so that this important client won't feel disrespected. Irene tells him that it's not right, considering they didn't post a notice, but he calls her a foolish girl and decides to handle the situation by himself. He starts looking down on our MC, assuming that he can't even afford to have 200 yuan. He rudely tells Xing Wang to stop wasting time and buy something quickly. Our boy wonders if this crazy man is really talking to him. The manager then calls Irene and tells her to start cleaning up the place again. Meanwhile, our boy tells Wang that he has to look around to find something good for himself. The manager starts insulting his appearance and telling him that he's embarrassing himself. Our boy calls them out for judging people by appearances, but Wang calls him a bitter person and assumes he can't afford it. Xing Wang then receives a call from the owner of the place, who tells him to ask Manager Wang any questions he has. The manager quickly recognizes the voice over the phone. At that moment, Xing Wang decides to cancel the contract and lets the lady know the way he was insulted by Wang. She quickly tells him to wait while she comes over. Seeing that there's a misunderstanding, she rushes over in order not to lose her precious client. The manager is ushered into her car as she tells the driver to head straight for the Swan Bay sales office. As the car speeds off, she texts Wang Shen angrily, threatening to give him hell if they lose this VIP client. Over at the sales office, Wang promises to look into the matter. After Li drops the phone, Wang quickly turns to Irene and starts accusing her of upsetting the rich client. Meanwhile, Xing Wang realizes that this guy doesn't even recognize his boss's voice. Wang starts scolding the salesgirl, saying that he might lose his job because of her. Feeling bad, the girl starts crying and tries to tell the man that she is just doing her job. The idiot also starts pushing our MC away, telling him that he's bad for business. At that moment, Manager Li walks in and confronts Wang Sheng. Meanwhile, he's still rudely telling our boy to leave the place. After that, he tries to explain what happened to Li. She walks past him, ignoring him, and he assumes that she's angry because Xing Wang is still there. She walks over to our boy and introduces herself as Li Wanying, the manager of Hongcheng Real Estate. She also apologizes for Wang's behavior and asks for forgiveness. Upon hearing this, Wang Sheng is too stunned to speak. He looks at Xing Wang, unable to believe that he's actually the VIP client. Even Irene is shocked as Li apologizes to our boy and promises to make up for it. He's surprised to see that our boy is also who they've been waiting for. Meanwhile, Manager Li is still apologizing desperately. Wang Sheng still doesn't understand how the VIP client looks so poor and would wear cheap clothes. Li Wanying then reprimands Wang for always looking down on clients, despite her warnings. The man starts trembling in fear, realizing that his life is finished. Seeing how arrogant he is, Manager Li quickly fires Wang on the spot. Tears fill up in the man's eyes as he falls to his knees and starts begging because he has a family and bills to take care of. He desperately begs his boss because losing the job will be very detrimental to him. She reminds him that they're running a business and that he needs to reflect on his actions. Wang Sheng turns to Xing Wang, admitting his wrongs and asking for forgiveness. Looking at the situation, Irene is full of fear, wondering what she should do. Our boy then commends Irene and suggests that she should be made the manager, to which Li quickly agrees. At that moment, Wang Sheng can't believe that his underling is suddenly above him. After that, Xing Wang follows Li to look at the properties. Meanwhile, Irene can't believe that she just got promoted in the blink of an eye. For his righteous deeds, the system rewards the MC with 1 heart, but he doesn't get how it'll be useful to him. The system tells him not to underestimate personal compliments because they could be crucial in the future. Later on, we see the beautiful courtyard leading to the villa's entrance. As the gates open, Li shows Xing Wang the maids and butlers, who will be responsible for security and management. The manager asks him to come in while they set up the automatic gate recognition system for him. After that, she receives some documents from one of the butlers. Li then tells the MC that the property certificates are ready for him to review. Our boy has never seen such an expensive house before, so he needs to take a good look at the documents. Li opens the box, revealing the unique ownership certificate. Our protagonist observes the document and can only tell that it feels premium. Manager Li is dumbfounded as he puts it back in the case and tells her to lead the way. She ends up seeing him as a tycoon who isn't even bothered about the property deeds. After that, she guides our boy along the walkway. As they walk through the garden, she tells Xinguang that they hired top landscapers to design it, and the interior was also done by an international designer. Looking closely at him, she assumes that he's from a hidden family and is afraid to appear as a high-profile person. Our boy loves the landscaping, but he wants to make space for some plants that his parents will love. He feels the place will look much better with some string beans and bitter gourds. Manager Lee then tells him that the designers can be contacted if there's something he doesn't like. Our MC decides to think about it because there are a lot of things that his parents will be uncomfortable with. The system sees his attitude as being arrogant and rewards him with 90,000 yuan. Xinguang notices that the system suddenly looks different, and it tells him that it comes with his life stages. Meanwhile, Lee still feels like she's dealing with someone from a prestigious family. She wishes him a wonderful future and also says their CEO will visit him when he returns. However, our boy doesn't see any need for it because he doesn't feel like he has spent much. She politely requests his continued support, but in her mind she's crashing out because our boy acted like 300 million is nothing. After a while, they walk to the entrance of the house, and she kindly asks him to enter. The scene switches to a lady who asks her Uncle Jang about who bought the villa. The old man tells her that it's a young man in his early 20s, and she is amazed to hear this. Zhang asks if they should look into Xinguang's background, but the lady feels that our boy will run away and it would be bad to offend him. She then tells the man to pick a good gift, which they'll use to pay him a visit. After 3 months of preparation, Xinguang and his employees happily celebrate the opening of his Duojin media company. He especially thanks Director Hao for training the workers over the past 3 months. The girls happily cheer him on, promising not to let down his support. Meanwhile, our boy and Gao Wen give each other a sweet look. 3 months ago, Gao Wen was shocked when Xinguang told her that she didn't need to live stream. The MC tells her to focus on recruiting and training new people, and he also promises to give her half of their profits. Feeling uneasy, she asks if his offer isn't a bit much, but he explains that it's only fair, considering that she has the most experience in the field. He gives her the option to switch back to live streaming once the company stabilizes. However, Gao Wen looks determined to stay behind the scenes. On a workday morning, we see He Shui scrolling through his phone when he comes across Dujin Media's account. He notices that the company has acquired a good amount of streamers. However, he feels like they don't understand how hard it is to start a streaming company. He scoffs at them, wondering why they're trying to compete with him. Someone suddenly walks into his office and angrily asks why the Dujin Media building is across from them. He Shui refers to the guy as his cousin and tells him that he was just thinking of a way to handle Dujin Media. His cousin tells him to show the newbies who the boss is in the live streaming industry. Like the humble dog he is, He Shui agrees to get to it. Meanwhile, Xinguang is seen looking through some stuff on his tablet. He complains about how designers these days aren't bothered to put some substance into their work. He plans to make his mansion as luxurious and creative as it can be. Suddenly, someone knocks on his door, and he tells the person to come in. Gao Wen walks in and tells Xinguang that their streamers have received a battle invitation from the Miao group all at the same time. Looking completely furious, she shows her phone to our boy. There, he can see that his streamers are nervous about what to do. The MC recognizes this old trick of always trying to pick on smaller streamers. He can tell that his rivals are trying to establish their dominance, but they picked the wrong person to mess with. Seeing that it's just about gift revenue, he tells Gao Wen that their streamers should accept the challenge. She quickly suspects that our boy is going to send rockets to all their streamers. Xinguang, feeling a bit nervous, wonders if he was acting a bit extravagant. At the same time, Gao Wen starts to suspect that Brother Wang is the same person as Xinguang. Suddenly, our boy starts talking like an old man, saying that money has to be spent, but he also advises spending wisely since over half of the money goes to things like channel fees. After listening to him, Gao Wen is more convinced that he is Brother Wang. However, he lets her know that all the money he's spending is still an investment. If his streamers succeed, his company will make a name for itself, and it will become something phenomenal. He also tells Gao Wen to have confidence in her training skills because if they can keep most of the viewers, then they've won. He promises to keep to his limits and also make sure that she earns money steadily. Seeing that she can't compare to his marketing strategies, Gao Wen decides to trust the MC. After that, she goes to address the streamers of their company. They are all scared about losing the battle if they accept the challenge. Regardless, Gao Wen tells them to accept it. Xinguang goes on his phone to watch the streaming battle and support his workers. From the looks of it, the Mivo group is getting a whole lot more support than Duojin. His phone vibrates as comments keep popping up, and he sees that everyone is looking down on his company. Our boy sets his phone down on his table and starts thinking about the kind of furniture to put in his villa. While he's lost in thought, Gao Wen walks into his office. She tells him that their people are getting crushed by their opponents, who came prepared. With their accounts and funds ready, she wants to know when they should make a move. However, Xinguang tells her to wait until the mocking reaches the highest point before they take action. Although she's getting impatient, she agrees to wait. The MC then tells her to reassure the streamers that gifts are waiting for whoever performs well. Meanwhile, we see He Shui with a bottle of wine, ready to celebrate victory before it arrives. Despite the loss of Gao Wen, he feels they can still rake in a lot of money. On the other hand, his cousin doesn't feel it's necessary to celebrate beating a small company. He still feels like the loss of Gao Wen was a major hit to them. He picks up his phone and sees someone commenting about how Gao Wen has her own company. He Shui's cousin becomes furious because the manager never told him that Gao Wen went to Dujin. Feeling anxious, He Shui tries to think of a way to resolve the situation. He then tells his cousin that Gao Wen charmed a rich guy and feels like she can become her own boss now. His cousin calms down a bit but demands that they win the competition. Suddenly, someone bursts into the room with bad news, saying that their rivals are flooding 10 streams with massive gifts. Manager He Shui wonders how they were able to get the money to flood 10 streams at a time. He tells his cousin that Dujin must be faking their boosts because it's not reasonable to spend so much money. With veins popping out of his head, He Shui's cousin makes it clear that they can't lose. Meanwhile, the worker who walked into the room loses all hope as he looks at his phone. He shows his bosses that the flood of gifts has started coming again, causing the guys to lose their minds. He Shui's cousin is beyond furious, so he tells the manager to make sure he crushes Dujin. Meanwhile, Gao Wen is shocked at how fast Xingwang is sending out rocket gifts. As our boy keeps sending them out, the system keeps rewarding him with more money. Considering that they are already winning, she wonders why he's spending so much. At this point, she is convinced that he's the same as brother Wang. Seeing how much he's spending, it's definitely beyond what a rich second generation would do. She then takes a seat beside our boy as he gets ready to spend more money. At this point, our boy is doing way more than showing off. She quickly gets up as Xingwang calls her name, and he reminds her that their goal is to become untouchable. The MC tells her to boost the team's morale and to also remind the Meow group to change their usernames. As she leaves the office, our boy starts to admire what he wants his dream setup to look like. It has nothing to do with a French vintage style and suits him perfectly. After that, he checks his account balance and sees that he has made up to 10 billion yuan. In various media offices, the executives scurry around looking for every piece of information concerning Dujin Media. They are all competing to be the first ones to secure an exclusive interview as well. At the streaming platform company, the boss requests to meet with Dujin Media to personally negotiate with them. Over at Dujin Media, the streamers gather together to thank all their supporters for their generous gifts. After that, they try to catch their breath due to all the stress they just went through. As our MC walks in, they all surround him, expressing how happy they are to win. They also get really excited as Xingwang tells them that the revenue will be split according to contract ratios. The system surprisingly rewards him with a small amount, and he tells it that its methods can make people anxious. While they're all celebrating, Gao Wen watches from the back, looking very happy as well. Over at Meow Group Media, He Shui and his cousin don't look too happy. They read comments from people who are all praising Dujin for doing a really good job. As they scroll down, they come across someone asking how they got defeated so easily. A lady then walks into the office asking He Shui's cousin if they should change their name. As the guy gets up from his seat, He Shui and the lady start to panic. Fearing for her life, the lady quickly leaves and shuts the door. As soon as she does, He Shui starts getting smacked around by his cousin for making the Meow Group Media a laughingstock. He tries to reason with his cousin, saying that they still made money at the end of the day. However, this only makes his cousin even angrier. Meanwhile, the video of the streamers from Dujin is still playing. The manager's cousin says that they would at least have 100 million followers if Gao Wen was still with them. He sits back on his chair, exhausted and thinking of how their company could have made much more money. He Shui tells him that Xingwang really looked like a broke failure before. However, his cousin blames him for being too blind to see someone of great value, and he also knows that He Shui treated Gao Wen poorly. However, the manager says it's because his cousin allowed it to happen as well. His cousin loses his temper and kicks him out of the office quickly. Over at Dujin Media, Gao Wen tells the MC that she's worried about how they're spending money, considering that they can still get enough by her calculations. She is completely baffled when our boy tells her that they didn't spend that much. He explains that most of the recharges came from other customers, and the platform also gave them 100 million in gifts. Nevertheless, Gao Wen doesn't even know what to say about his calculations. In the end, our boy only sees this as a necessary sacrifice, just like the way other companies promote their streamers. He then thanks her for working so hard to train their new streamers. She admires him as he talks to her about how success only brings more success. Xingwang isn't about to stop here. He plans to also invest in shows and TV dramas. He suddenly gets a call from someone at the renovation company he contacted. He decides to leave everything else to Gao Wen while he goes to oversee the renovation of his new house. He reminds her to include her share in the bonus calculations and also take her cut from the newcomers. According to him, if everyone is happy, they'll be able to make a whole lot more money. Upon hearing this, Gao Wen happily agrees to carry out his request. At Swanbei Villa, we see Zhang looking around when he notices renovation workers tirelessly working in a building. The MC, who is also dressed in work clothes, guides the workers on what exactly he needs to be done. He then notices Zhang standing behind him. The old man tells him that he came to visit with some products from his company. Xingwang is impressed by how dashing and refined the butler looks. The thought of getting a butler someday begins to seep into his mind. After that, he takes off his gloves and apologizes to Zhang for the messy conditions. However, the old man doesn't mind. and he tells Xinguang that he just wanted to visit since they'll be seeing a lot of each other in the future. Our boy collects the gift while acknowledging how polite everyone is in the neighborhood. He notices that the gift box also looks expensive with its gold and silver decorations. As our boy shakes Zhang, he promises to come and visit once his work is done. By noon, Xinguang is completely exhausted after overworking himself all morning. He gets a call from a friend telling him that their school will be having a reunion soon. He recalls how he was at the bottom of his class back then and people always mocked him. Seeing that things are different now, he agrees to attend the event. His former classmate is stunned at how quickly our boy agrees. At the same time, over in Zhao Zhao's villa, Zhang reports back to her, telling her that our boy is quite a polite person. As she acknowledges his report, she suddenly hears the sound of the door and turns out, realizing who it must be. She then sees a pretty-looking couple approaching her. Zhao Zhao addresses the guy, saying that he shouldn't be bringing people there, but he tells her that the girl, Mengxi, is going to be her future sister-in-law. Mengxi starts crying and asks if Zhao Zhao has some misunderstanding about her. Zhao Zhao simply ignores the girl and walks away. Mengxi decides it's best for her to leave in order not to affect the relationship between the siblings. Her boyfriend tells her to pay no mind to his sister, who becomes angered by his words. He reminds his sister that only the person who gets married will inherit the family fortune. Zhao Zhao laughs at the idea of being jealous of her brother because she doesn't see herself as opportunistic as him. She also reminds him that the marriage depends on whether their grandfather approves of it or not. Outside Shenwei restaurant, Xinguang sees off Gao Wen as she heads out to deliver something to a client. While she drives off, our boy gets a feeling he'll make a lot of money during the day. He then sees some people standing at the entrance of the building in front of him. The people there look like his former classmates. The girl in the red dress sees Xinguang in an expensive car, but the others doubt that he can honestly afford it. They start making fun of him, assuming that he got with an old, ugly lady in order to show off. As our boy approaches them, they keep talking bad about him. He doesn't act upset at all and instead mocks them for not being able to land a rich lady of their own. The girl laughs at him, saying that there's no way she could be jealous of him. He refers to her as Wang Duoduo and calls her out for taking the place of a factory director's wife. Suddenly, another expensive car pulls up beside them. We then see Mengxi and Taihei stepping out. The others start referring to Mengxi as a goddess, and they also notice Taihei, the young master of the Ping family. One of the guys tells Xinguang to go say hello to his high school crush, believing that she's the reason he came in the first place. As our boy approaches her and says hello, she nervously greets him as well. He then tells his former classmates to keep flattering him while he goes in to take a seat. As our boy heads inside, the others continue hurling insults at him. Taihei tells his babe to let him know when she's done so he can come pick her up. After that, Mengxi waves goodbye to her man. While the guys are envious of Taihei, Duoduo can't wait to get invited to their wedding. After that, Mengxi suggests that they should all head upstairs. Inside the hotel's private room, we see everyone drinking and having the time of their lives. Meanwhile, Xinguang is just sitting alone in a corner. One of the guys there starts boasting about how he acquired one floor of a building opposite the city government. The others are really impressed, considering that it costs around tens of millions to do that. Meanwhile, Mengxi is telling the girls how she's about to get engaged and settle down as a housewife. They're all envious of her when they see the super expensive ring that she's wearing. At the same time, Mengxi is looking down on them and wants them to keep envying her. On the other hand, the MC gets a notification that makes him happy. The message shows that the hospital building construction is progressing smoothly. The others wonder why he's not socializing and just looking at his phone. Our boy lets them know that he's not sad about Mengxi's engagement, and he says they should congratulate her instead. Regardless, someone else still sees him as a slave worker who's earning 5,000 yuan a month. Not feeling moved by the guy's words, our boy happily tells him that he's working overtime and brags about trying to make the world a better place. Upon saying those words, everyone starts laughing at Xinguang. They feel like he's acting childish and advise him to go work in construction or get a delivery job. Suddenly, our boy looks at them with a deadly expression. Feeling anxious, the guys try to explain that they are only looking out for him. Nevertheless, Xinguang doesn't take their words seriously. He tells his former classmates to enjoy themselves because he has to go check the renovation of his house. The red-haired guy tells him to stay back for the food and to also invite them to his house for a warming party. The MC tells him that his house is too small for them, but they doubt that he can actually afford anything reasonable. While he agrees with whatever they say, Duoduo stops him and says he has to pay up before leaving. However, Xinguang says he'll pay once she posts the bill in their group chat. She reminds him that they're at a high-end restaurant and that no one will cover for him if he leaves the group. Rather than keep arguing, our boy just sends 10,000 yuan to shut her up. The others start laughing at him for sending so much money because they think he's trying to show off. Duoduo also tells him that the bill won't even be up to that amount. Mengxi also offers to pay for our boy and tells them to save his money. However, this act is just so that more people can be jealous of her. As she insults Xinguang, he isn't fazed because he already knows what kind of person she is. He turns around and tells her that he doesn't need her help in any way. The other girls start slandering him for being ungrateful, but Mengxi tries to calm them down. Nevertheless, our boy calls out the so-called goddess for being shameless. He decides to pay for the meal, but one of the guys whips out a golden VIP card and tells him that only VIP members are allowed to make payments. The MC decides to see the manager, so his classmate tells the waiter that a VIP member is requesting his boss's presence. After that, the waiter agrees to call the manager immediately. Meanwhile, our boy's classmate is eager to see him make a fool of himself. Moments later, the manager comes out to meet them. The man confirms to Xinguang that only VIP cardholders can pay bills in the VIP room, so he decides to get one. His classmates mock him and assume that there's no way he can afford the membership. Seeing that it costs 500,000, our boy also asks how much it'll cost to drive out everyone else, but the manager tells him that they can't chase away customers. This only causes Xinguang's classmates to laugh at him and mock him even more. At that moment, the MC proposes to pay 10 million on the spot. The manager is baffled when he hears the price being offered. Xinguang's classmates are also shocked by this. Nevertheless, our boy is willing to pay 10 million to have peace and quiet to enjoy his meal. The manager judges Xinguang by his clothes and doubts that he can actually afford 10 million. He tells our boy that there are limits to how far a joke should go. Xinguang just turns to the man and tells him to swipe his card. Xinguang's classmates make fun of him for bringing out a card with scratches instead of a prestigious black card. The girls believe he's also showing off because he suddenly decided to sit back and eat when he wanted to leave a few moments ago. While they hurl insults and doubting words at him, the waitress goes ahead to swipe his card. To her surprise, she tells the manager that the payment was successful. Not only is the manager shocked, but Xinguang's classmates are beyond baffled. With the payment done, our boy humbly requests to eat his meal in peace. The manager then tells everyone else that they'll have to leave immediately. In return, the system rewards Xinguang with 20 million yuan. His classmate starts calling him out for disregarding them and kicking them out. The girls also tell him that he might make enemies because of his actions. However, the MC is unfazed because he knows they all plan to ridicule him from the start. He then says that he'll leave if someone else pays more than him, proposing that they have a contest. Seeing that they can't match his pockets, the girls decide that it's best for them to just leave. Suddenly, Mengxi's boyfriend walks in, offering to pay more than Xinguang, and he asks our boy to leave. He takes a seat beside his girl and lets her know that she's his priority. As the girls see Taihei, the girls become confident again, wondering how Xinguang can match the guy in terms of money. At the same time, our boy notices that the guy is just trying to spite him. He then recalls that Zhang mentioned that he works for someone known as Ping as well. Taihei wonders why the MC is silent and asks if he only has 10 million in his account. Mengxi pretends like she cares, telling her man not to make fun of our boy so much. The protagonist notes that this is supposed to be between classmates, but he thanks the guy for interfering in their matters. Our boy takes out his card and tells the manager to add 5 million to his bill. Upon hearing this, the manager can't believe that he's making so much profit because of a petty squabble. As Taihei uses 1 yuan to top our boy's price, Xinguang boosts the price to 20 million. As they keep going at it, the MC keeps getting huge rewards from the system. Mengxi admires her man, feeling glad that she's about to marry the right person. Meanwhile, Xinguang raises the price once again while his classmates keep persuading the young master Ping not to back down. Mengxi notices that her man is silent, and she worries that this will affect her reputation. Taihei looks calm, but on the inside, he's losing his mind at how Xinguang is spending money. He was originally planning to invest in the restaurant, but it doesn't seem so easy anymore. He becomes quite frightened because it's not like he prints money. After swiping his card, the waitress happily returns it to the MC. Meanwhile, the manager is acting like an auctioneer for the competition. With no one else bidding, the deal is sealed. The young Master Ping sees himself in a tough spot, refusing to ruin his family's reputation for his girlfriend. Our boy approaches him and asks if he's not going to bid anymore. As Taihei's phone rings, Xinguang allows him to take the call. As he takes the call, Zhao Zhao quickly asks him what he spent all that money on. In order to save himself, he refuses to tell her what happened. Regardless, she tells him that their grandfather is the one asking about it. As he hears, the young Master Ping is short of words. His sister then tells him that she's about to get into the elevator at the Shenwei Hotel. The guy quickly realizes that his sister is following him. If Zhao Zhao finds out what he did, he'll be finished. After dropping the call, the protagonist lets him know that it's his turn to bid. Taihei calls them crazy for spending so much money on a meal that's not even worth it. One of the guys there tells him that he's losing face for his family. Taihei gets angry and tells the guy to shut up while the manager tries to calm him down. As the manager offers to pay back all he has spent, the guy stares at him with a scary look and tells the man to coordinate with his secretary. Meanwhile, Xinguang finds the whole thing boring because he was hoping to make a good profit. Mengxi's friends plead with her to do something before they all get humiliated. The girl sees herself in a dire situation and regrets coming for the reunion in the first place. She then tries to persuade her man to do something because people are watching them. Taihei angrily slaps her away and calls off their engagement on the spot. He even tells her to get as far away from him as possible. Mengxi can't believe she's about to lose her planned future over this whole thing. He tells her that she's only good for her looks and that there's no way he could actually love her. On the other hand, our MC is getting impatient, so the manager tells him that he'll clear the room quickly. After that, Taihei warns the MC not to cross paths with his family in Sang City. As he's about to leave, Zhao Zhao walks into the place and confronts her brother. She grabs him by the collar, saying that he must explain his actions. After that, she offers to invest 2 billion in the hotel in the name of the Ping family. The others realize that the Ping family is really wealthy, but they wonder who has won the betting competition. Zhao Zhao tells the manager to clear the area so that she can discuss with Xingwang. Because of this, Xingwang's classmates start to wonder if he's actually some kind of big shot. They start feeling envious and also regret ever offending him. Meanwhile, our boy finds Zhao Zhao quite interesting. The manager then asks everyone else to kindly leave the restaurant. As Taihei also leaves, his sister tells him that their grandfather is waiting for him. Suddenly, there's an awkward air around the place. Mengxi runs after her man, apologizing and admitting that it's all her fault. At that moment, Zhao Zhao warns her not to mess with the Ping family if she values her life, causing the girl to flee in humiliation. On the other hand, Taihei is short of words as he leaves the place as well. Later on, the manager decides to serve fresh dishes for his guests. Zhao Zhao approaches our boy and asks to speak with him. Inside a private room, Xingwang expresses his honor to talk with Zhao Zhao. He acknowledges that he received her gift and says he was planning to visit after renovating his home. She also apologizes for her brother's behavior, saying that she finds it hard to keep him in check. As she pours the wine, she lets him know that her family isn't the type to bully others. The reason she's there is to protect her family's reputation. Zhao Zhao raises a glass to toast and tells our boy to consider it as the Ping family owing him a favor. After that, she finishes the wine in one gulp. The MC then asks what business she has with him. However, she tells him that it was all for show just to get everyone else to politely leave. Our boy is too shocked as he realizes that they have to sit there for 2 hours doing nothing. She then suggests that they eat, so he urges her to have a seat. Nevertheless, Zhao Zhao doesn't want to intrude on Xingwang's lunchtime. Moments later, we see our boy eating like a homeless glutton. While he does so, he wonders if Zhao Zhao is just going to sit and watch him eat. However, she's happy to see that he's not so picky about food. On the other hand, our boy seems a bit uncomfortable around her. Feeling anxious, he asks if there's really nothing she wants to talk about. She then lets him know that she doesn't know what to talk about since they just met. Although her logic makes sense, Xingwang still feels uneasy being watched. Suddenly, he tells her that he needs to take a call. He hears Gao Wen over the phone and tells her that he's in the second-floor suite. Later on, he lets Zhao Zhao know that his friend is there to see him. He opens the door for Gao Wen, who cheerfully asks him how the meal was. Seeing that it's just him and Zhao Zhao, she wonders what happened with the class reunion. Not knowing what to say, Zhao Zhao decides to leave and attend to other things. Xingwang and Gao Wen end up confused as to why the girl suddenly left. After that, the streamer joins her boss at the table and asks if Zhao Zhao is his classmate, but he tells her that she isn't. After a while, as Gao Wen enjoys the food, our boy tells her how expensive it is. She decides to stuff her face with food, seeing how rich people like to treat money. After that, Xingwang asks her what the client said, and she gives him a rundown, saying that the deal has been sealed and she also connected with some good writers to create scripts for their ads. Upon hearing this, the protagonist lets her know that she's more talented than just being a streamer. However, Gao Wen only chose that path because of her family's situation. She humbly thanks our boy for giving her a great opportunity. Thanks to him, she sees that she can become a director and a person who's more respected by brands. Xingwang then assures her that her future will only continue to get brighter. The two of them then toast to a successful partnership. With that settled, our boy decides they should eat as much as they can. We see two guys admiring a sports car parked by the side of the road. One of them asks his friend if he is into the cars, but the dude sadly tells him that he can't afford that. As the driver steps out, the girls there start falling for him. The dude looks good, especially with the gold chain around his neck. Suddenly, he sees Gao Wen walking out of the building in front of him. She recognizes him as Zhang Wencheng, and he offers to give her a ride to wherever she's going. However, she softly declines his offer. The guy is persistent and proposes that they grab a meal when she's done with what she has to do, but she still declines. Despite being her top fan for a while, Wencheng doesn't get why the girl is just ignoring him. He already feels defeated even though he told his friends that he would win her over. Meanwhile, Xingwang pulls up to the place on his scooter and asks Gao Wen if the guy is her friend. She introduces Wencheng to our boy and says he was her #1 fan at her former workplace. Xingwang greets the guy and extends his hand to shake him, but Wencheng just ignores him. Seeing that the guy is being stubborn, our boy tells Gao Wen to hop on. As she gets on his scooter, she bids Wencheng farewell, and the guy watches as they zoom off. Wencheng can't believe that she ignored him for a guy on an electric scooter. He feels that our boy isn't even on his level to compete for a hot girl like Gao Wen. He gets into his car while thinking of how to enjoy his 2 days of peace. He calls his brother, who tells him that there's a great place they can go to eat crayfish. Later on, we see a bunch of cars stuck in traffic. Meanwhile, the MC is enjoying the benefits of his scooter because he's not stuck in traffic like the rest. Gao Wen then tells him that their destination is just around the corner. They're heading to a place where they can feast on crayfish because he feels their meal from the previous day was boring. As they arrive, our boy parks his scooter and they head inside. There, the waitress serves them trays of food with different flavors, and then our boy adds an extra plate of noodles. Gao Wen lets him know that she's not about to wear gloves to enjoy this meal. As they toast and drink, Xinnuo suddenly walks in. The girl recognizes them, and we see that Wencheng is also with her. She suggests that they go to another restaurant, but Wencheng insists that this one has the best food. He then walks in and comes across our boy enjoying a meal with Gao Wen. He gets furious, seeing that he got rejected just for her to go out with Xinguang. He quickly grabs Jinuo around the waist to make himself feel better. The MC and his colleague watch them as they walk off to a different seat. Wencheng decides to support other girls to make Gao Wen jealous. However, she seems to be enjoying her meal with our protagonist. On the other hand, Jinuo also wants to make Gao Wen jealous by snatching her #1 fan. Meanwhile, Gao Wen asks Xinguang if she should warn Jinuo about Wencheng, but he tells her that everyone has their own destiny. While she seems a bit uneasy about his response, Jinuo offers to peel the shrimp for her date. The guy then agrees and calls her a good girl. As Jinuo feeds him, Wencheng suddenly hears someone yelling at him and asking what he's doing. Wencheng starts running away as he sees a furious-looking lady approaching him. She grabs his hand before he can get away, and she starts yelling at him for cheating on her. Scared and anxious, the guy decides to use sweet words to win Linlin's trust back. Linlin turns to Jinuo and lets her know that Wencheng already has a girlfriend. Jinuo starts to feel ashamed because this is all happening in front of Gao Wen. Linlin then turns her attention back to her cheating boyfriend and calls him out for being unreasonable after all she's done for him, but he tells her that he was forced by Jinuo. Completely enraged, the lady slaps Jinuo for trying to steal her man. Suddenly, Wencheng gets on his knees and starts begging like a wimp, saying that it's Jinuo who seduced him. Feeling scared and confused, Jinuo realizes that Wencheng is nothing but a mama's boy. On the other hand, Wencheng tries to assure Linlin that he has feelings for only her. Upon hearing this, she tells him to prove it by getting back at Jinuo. With no hesitation, Wencheng starts slapping Jinuo around the place, and she feels he must have lost his mind. However, he starts yelling at her for trying to scam him and forcing him to get her dinner. The people in the restaurant start to give Jinuo evil eyes as she tries to explain that she's innocent. Seeing the situation, Xinguang steps out of his seat to resolve it. Meanwhile, Gao Wen sees that Wencheng is nothing but a foolish hypocrite. As our boy picks up a plate of food, Wencheng wonders what he's about to do. The next second, he slams the plate into the guy's face. Jinuo, who is completely embarrassed, is shocked to see Xinguang standing up for her. As the food slides down his face, Wencheng has no idea what to say. His eyes start to hurt as the spices in the food seep inside them. Linlin helps her man wipe his face while yelling at Xinguang for not minding his business. However, the MC tells her that she should keep her boy in check and stop embarrassing themselves. Linlin is left speechless because deep down she knows our boy is right. Meanwhile, Wencheng swears that he'll kill Xinguang, but our boy is curious to see how he'll do it. At the same time, Jinuo is surprised to see Xinguang fighting others to protect her. Wencheng suddenly picks up a bottle and smashes it on the table, turning it into a deadly weapon. He then lunges straight at our boy, but the MC dodges and lands a kick on the dude, sending him crashing to the ground. After that, the protagonist advises Linlin to find a better boy toy who has better self-control. Suddenly, she starts falling for his good looks. Meanwhile, Wencheng is in a world of pain and doesn't understand how Xinguang is so strong. Jinuo then thanks Xinguang for coming to help her out, but he tells her that it's not for her. She then feels like he's too embarrassed to admit that he's helping her. As Wencheng gets up, he orders Linlin to find someone to deal with the MC, but she admits that Xinguang is right. After that, she goes ahead and asks for our boy's contact. Jinuo runs after Xinguang as she sees him leaving with Gao Wen. In return for helping her, she offers to treat him to dinner, but he tells her not to bother. She also uses the chance to apologize for all that she has done before, but he lets her know that he just found the situation annoying and that he wasn't exclusively helping her. The MC tells her that he has to return with Gao Wen to their company to work overtime. As they ride off, Jinuo starts regretting the fact that she couldn't see how good Xinguang was. Seeing that he's just friends with Gao Wen, she feels she still has a chance. Back in the restaurant, the manager meets Linlin and Wencheng to ask who will pay for the damages. Linlin tells the man that he should ask Wencheng for the money. She slams her shoe into her boy toy's face and tells him to get lost. After that, she heads towards the exit where Jinuo is standing. Linlin walks past the girl and scoffs at her. Meanwhile, Wencheng decides to try and go for Jinuo since Linlin has abandoned him. As he dashes towards her like the scumbag he is, she instantly feels disgusted. Feeling a bit terrified, she dodges the guy, causing him to crash to the ground again. She walks past the fool and threatens to call the police if he dares to harass her again. The scene switches to Doujin Media, where Gao Wen tells the MC how he couldn't help but step in at the restaurant. He tells her that he wanted to remove the threat of Wencheng ever harassing her again. After she thanks him, she shows him the new project she has prepared. As he takes the documents, she explains that her plan is to make their streamers participate in short dramas to earn more money for bigger projects. The MC agrees and offers to fund the bills to shoot 10 practice episodes. Gao Wen tries to tell him that the company account still has enough money, but our boy doesn't want to risk using the company's money. He quickly sends her the money from his personal account and the system rewards him with a whole lot more. Thanks to his quickness, his daily salary didn't escape his hands. Gao Wen is left speechless as she receives the funds. Xinguang needs to head over to his house, so he tells her not to overwork herself for too long. After that, our boy takes his leave. As the MC arrives at his villa, he hears someone being really hot-tempered at that late hour. He then sees Mengshi still trying to win Taihei's love back. but the guy isn't interested. The guy slaps Mengxi and threatens to call security if she doesn't get out. The poor girl falls to the ground, crying and wondering why Taihei is being so mean to her. Suddenly, she sees Xingwang handing her a handkerchief to wipe her tears with. As Xingwang gives her the handkerchief, she asks if he's there to laugh at her, but he tells her that he was just passing by. She thinks that he's there for business, but he points out that his house is being renovated. Mengxi is shocked to see that the new villa is actually owned by him. Xingwang tells her that he bought it for his family. She wonders how our boy became so suddenly rich despite how he looked so poor in college. She then asks him if he's angry at her, but he doesn't see any reason to be mad at her. However, he notices that the conversation is starting to take a bad turn. Nevertheless, the girl expresses that she's happy about him not being angry despite how she ignored him back in college. The situation gets awkward, and he tells her that she must have misunderstood, but Mengxi says that she just wanted to clarify things. However, our boy doesn't find it necessary. For his bold behavior, the system gives him a small reward. Mengxi suddenly wraps her arms around our boy, saying that she wants to tell him a lot. Xingwang quickly backs away and makes it clear that he doesn't have any feelings for her again. In return, the system commends him for being so brave. He knows that she's just trying to target him after she got rejected. But all the love he had for her is in the past now. With his feelings gone, she's nothing more than another stranger in his life. Xingwang's harsh words leave the girl speechless. He then walks into his home, hoping that she'll stop thinking so highly of herself. At the same time, the system gives him another 10,000 win. As he enters his villa, Mengxi just stands and watches him silently. He then gives her a disgusted look before slamming his gate shut. Later on, Mengxi returns to her lonely home. She slowly walks into the living room and lies down on the couch. Suddenly, her phone starts ringing as she gets a call from her friend, Lele. Her friend tells her that she's incredibly lucky because her backup plan turned out to be amazing. Mengxi then waits for her friend to explain. Lele then reminds her of brother Wang, who always sends thousands of gifts, but Mengxi isn't into live streaming. Regardless, her friend tells her that Xingwang is the same person as brother Wang, and she advises Mengxi to go after our boy. The girl is completely shocked, and she asks her friend if she's sure about this. Suddenly, Mengxi drops her phone in disbelief. Her friend calls out to her, but Mengxi can't believe she ignored a genuine guy who loved her for 4 years and could have given her a life of luxury. She loses her mind and starts crying because she sees herself as someone who can match up to celebrities. She then makes up her mind to chase Xingwang to make him remember the love he had for her. Meanwhile, at the MC's villa, we see him checking out his body in the mirror, and he sees that it definitely needs improvement. He then picks up his phone to check the fitness trainer rankings. Thinking about it, he decides it'll be better to hire a personal trainer and set up a gym at home. As he scrolls through the rankings, he finds one that he decides to go with. Xingwang suddenly sees the system interface appearing before him. It then tells him that there are 2 females who feel strong regret towards him, which meets the conditions for the system upgrade. The system is surprised to see that the system can even be upgraded in the first place. The regret level plugin gets activated, allowing him to convert the points he gets into different stats whenever the regret level reaches 90%. It also shows Mengxi and Shinua's regret levels. The MC is surprised to see how high Mengxi's regret level is. After that, he also sees an interface displaying all his stats. The system then gives him 5 points to start it, and he invests all of them into the strength stat. Instantly, he starts to see the effects on his body. He starts regretting the fact that he already paid for a private trainer, but with the money already spent, he has no other choice than to go along with it. With the house renovation done, he decides to take his time with the furniture placements. The next day at the gym, our boy walks to the front desk and shows them that he paid for 20 personal training sessions. The lady at the desk then goes ahead to check her system for the details. The gym looks pretty decent, but the only downside is that it's overpriced. The lady then tells our boy that he needs a membership to activate his lessons. She tells him the different membership plans they have and offers him 3 free trial sessions if he goes with the monthly subscription. However, Xingwang is disappointed to see how this gym is trying to take all his money. When the lady asks if he has decided, he tells her that he has decided to cancel the training sessions, leaving her really puzzled. He tells her how he would have given clients free membership if he ran the business and then asks her to process the refund. The lady begs him to reconsider and also tells him that her boss's approval is needed for refunds. She then leaves the desk to call her boss. The MC thinks it's better to spend money only if it's actually worth it. The system admires his thoughts, but only rewards him with 1 yuan. The lady then returns with her boss, who is a red-haired, muscular man. The guy quickly recognizes Xingwang, and our boy also recognizes the guy as Wang Tairan, a former high school senior. Tairan then tells his assistant to head back while he handles the situation. After that, he starts talking with Xingwang, who tells him that he wants to cancel his training sessions. Tairan tells him that he'll refund the money and that he just wanted to chat for a bit. He then tells the MC that a girl known as Gao Yuan works in the gym. Tairan then calls her to come. On the other hand, our boy doesn't seem too enthusiastic about meeting Yuan. A few moments later, Yuan steps out, and she is shocked to see Xingwang there. Suddenly, the system tells Xingwang that Gao Yuan has joined the regret development program. He looks at her stats, seeing that her current regret level is at 0%. Seeing this, our boy is eager to gain some points. For this to work, he needs to make Yuan regret the way she treated him in the past. He recalls how naive he was back then because he thought that the girl actually cared about him. Back then, Yuan would reveal things like how a girl gave him a love letter because of a dare. Our boy, being a naive loser, will shamelessly agree not to fall for anyone else and promises to only like her. She would then use that chance to ask for his homework so she could copy it. At the time, our boy really thought Yuan had feelings for him. As he gave her gifts, she would make sure to tell him not to think too much of it. She would also accept gifts from other guys the same way and tell them not to make others misunderstand the situation. Since her family is the richest in the city, Xinguang realizes that using money to impress her won't work. Aside from that, she is now with Tyron, a good-looking, muscular guy. Yuan only became a fitness trainer to stay beside Tyron because she has a thing for muscleheads. Nevertheless, the MC feels he can win her over with a bit of financial backing. Yuan then asks our boy if he's having some difficulties. Looking at her, Xinguang decides to make Tyron look like a weakling in front of his woman. He then talks about how it's unreasonable to pay for both training sessions and a membership fee, but Tyron tells him that it's the standard pricing. The musclehead tries to mock Xinguang by saying he gets enough exercise as an office worker. Xinguang tells him it doesn't count, but suddenly he decides to pay for a year's membership since Yuan is there. Tyron quickly grabs his woman and tells our boy not to show off or he'll go hungry. He also feels like Xinguang is still hung up on Yuan. Meanwhile, the MC uses the chance to ask the guy to give him a discount. Tyron becomes a bit anxious at the mention of the word discount. Our boy tries to persuade him while also trying to play the long game to get back at them. In order not to look stupid in front of his woman, Tyron offers our boy a 40% discount and also bumps up his training sessions to 30. With a sinister expression, Xinguang promises to pay back the favor someday, but he knows that Tyron is all talk. As Tyron leaves with Yuan, he tells a guy known as Zhang Qi to train Xinguang. Yuan then wishes the MC good luck in his training. As Zhang Qi asks which areas Xinguang would like to train in, the protagonist tells him that they'll discuss it at a later time. After that, Qi heads over to the front desk, talking about how our boy is just a phony. As they laugh at him, Xinguang walks out, planning how to make his revenge much sweeter. He heads back to his scooter and asks the system to show his stats as he gets on. The interface pops up and the MC is shocked to see that his height actually increased. He wonders if investing in stamina will make him look like a gigachad, but the system tells him that he's thinking too much about it. However, he suspects that the system is making a dirty joke about him. After that, Xinguang asks to see Xinuo and Mengxi's stats. As their pictures pop up, he thinks about who to focus on. Seeing that Mengxi is almost at 100% regret level, he decides to choose her, eager to see the rewards he'll get. We see Mengxi applying makeup while thinking to herself about how she still has a chance with Xinguang. She tries to make her makeup look natural because men appreciate natural beauty. In the end, she comes out looking absolutely flawless. Suddenly, she gets a call from Xinguang. It's the perfect timing because she was just thinking of reaching out to him. She feels like our boy has gotten over his anger and is still a simp at heart. Meanwhile, the system shows our boy that her regret level has gone up by 1%. With this, he can see that Mengxi is the type who likes to be chased. He recalls that he was only attracted to her back then because she looked like Gao Yuan. After many years of being a simp, he realized that he wasn't her type. Mengxi then answers the call and asks if he needs something. As our boy answers her, she wonders if he's going to ask her out. Then, Xinguang tells her to return the tissue he gave her that day. Mengxi can't believe what she just heard, but our boy hangs up the call after that. For his ruthless behavior, the system gives him a measly 600 yuan. Meanwhile, Mengxi is still wondering if it's normal to return borrowed tissue. She goes to her dressing table and assumes that our boy is too shy to directly ask her out. She assumes that whatever she thinks is right, saying that Xinguang was always like this in college. She even suspects that he may have some kind of strange fetish. Her mind starts to wander far away, so she decides to replace the tissue she had initially thrown away. While she goes on with that, our MC sees that her regret level has gone up by 1% again. As he notices it, he starts feeling like those simps who get excited over their crush taking a bath. But simps always end up with nothing in the end. Xinguang then rides off to a coffee shop. There, he thinks of going into investment opportunities since the money he's getting is becoming smaller. He then comes across an auction event on his phone. The item being auctioned is his country's national treasure, so he decides to do something about it. Suddenly, Mengxi approaches him at his table. She quickly notices that he's quite interested in the auction going on. She then takes a seat and apologizes for making him wait. She then brings out a small case and hands it over to him. Xinguang reminds her that he has no feelings for her after seeing the way she dressed up. He also asks why she used such an elaborate box to return a tissue. The girl, feeling embarrassed, tells him that she's just wearing light makeup. Regardless, he lets her know that he's ready to say worse things, and he's not about to be her backup plan either. She starts crying and tells him that she hasn't even said anything mean to him. As this goes on, her regret level keeps increasing slowly. Due to this, the MC can tell that she's a complete masochist. Mengxi tells our boy that she always dresses like this, and that he should have just outrightly rejected her instead of agreeing to meet up. Xinguang reveals that he just wants to see her look when her hopes get crushed. He asks her how it feels and lets her know that this isn't about to stop now. Feeling embarrassed, she quickly runs out of the coffee shop while her regret level continues to spike up. At the same time, Xinguang sees that Mengxi is definitely no goddess. He recalls how she called him a simp who would wag his tail with a small favor. She even said that he was never worthy of carrying her shoes. But now, he's sure that she's regretting all those harsh words. As her regret level reaches 99%, he gets rewarded with 5 points. But he's disappointed to see that it's not 100% yet. When the system asks where he wants to allocate the points, he decides to put all of them in stamina. He feels the immediate effect as his body surges with power. After that, our boy decides to go to the gym to test out the effectiveness of his stats. The next day, we see Zhang Qi training Xinguang at the gym. He decides to assess our boy's level to prevent any muscle injuries. The MC wonders if the guy is assuming that he's being too overconfident. He reminds Z that the reason he's there is to protect them. After that, he tells the guy to increase the weight to 150 kilograms. Zhang Qi is concerned because even that much weight is challenging for him. However, this only makes our boy eager to try out something heavier. Thanks to his stats, he can barely feel the strain from the weights he's currently benching. At this point, Zhang Qi feels like the MC is trying to make fun of him, and Xinguang asks if he's afraid of being under pressure. Zhang Qi then tells him that he needs to sign a liability waiver before they proceed. This is so that the gym won't be held responsible for anything that happens to him, but Xinguang feels like he's overreacting. Qi explains that this is to make him understand what he's really about to do. He gets pissed off, doubting that the protagonist can actually lift something so heavy. Tyron then walks in and demands to know what's happening. Zhang Qi then tells him that our boy is insisting on lifting something much heavier. Yuan also tells Xinguang that the guy is looking out for him, but he decides to make a bet, leaving Qi puzzled. The MC offers to sign up for 100 personal sessions if he can't lift it, but if he can, then Qi will have to pay for his membership and training fees. Zhang Qi doubts that someone like this can actually pay for 100 sessions. Our boy then offers to prepay for the 100 sessions on the spot. On the other hand, Yuan is shocked to see Xinguang betting against Zhang Qi. She suggests that they compromise and try 100 kilograms first. Xinguang continues insisting, leaving Zhang Qi with no other choice but to agree. Zhang Qi then tells him to try lifting the bar first. He says that if our boy can't, then they can just call off the bet. Still, he doubts that Xinguang understands the weight he's about to carry. As the MC gives it a push, the bar doesn't move at all. Seeing this, Zhang Qi suggests that he should stop, but at that moment our boy suddenly lifts the weight perfectly. The guy loses his mind as our boy starts bench pressing like it's nothing. At that moment, he thanks his lucky stars for not talking out loud. Meanwhile, Yuan starts to fall for Xinguang as she watches him do something that her man cannot. After completing his set, Xinguang quickly tells Zhang Qi that it's time for him to pay up. He says he'll come back in a few days and hopes to meet a trainer with better capabilities. Suddenly, he gets a call from Jinwoo, so he casually tells Yuan that he has a date with a beautiful girl. Looking at his phone, she can't believe that Xinguang actually has a girlfriend. In the next scene, we see Xinguang in a fancy restaurant with Jinwoo. She expresses how she wants to use this meal to thank our boy for all he has done for her. Our boy looks at the food with an uninterested expression. The girl feels anxious, but thinks that he's just putting up an act. Considering he has rejected her before, she wonders if she has a chance this time around. She then starts talking about the bad conditions of the Miao Group, thanks to them losing the last competition. Xinguang is shocked to hear that the company is deducting revenue from streamers recklessly. Jinwoo suddenly starts crying while talking about how she only has a few years left in her prime. It's when she decided to look for another path that she ran into Wencheng. Luckily, the MC helped her out of that mess. However, our boy doesn't see her gratitude as something that's worthy. Nevertheless, he already has a plan to deal with her. He'll simply make her anxious by giving her false hope, and in the end, the opportunity will go to someone else and she'll be devastated. He then tells Jinwoo that he needs her help. She gets really excited, eager to help him with whatever it is. He lets her know that he's looking for experienced streamers to help train the new ones at his company. Suddenly, he excuses himself to take a call and tells the person over the phone to hold on. As the MC leaves, he lets Jinwoo know that there's something important he needs to do, so they'll talk later. Jinwoo gets really excited because our boy is considering her for the job. While Xinguang walks out, we see a message on his phone from Qingqing, who thanks him for being a good boss and promises to work hard for him. After that, he gets a system message showing that Jinwoo's regret level has increased. With this, he has everything going according to plan. Over at Jinwoo's home, she tells herself that she has a chance to join Dojin, considering that Qingting has also joined the company. She regrets not being kinder to Xinguang because she would have been in a much better position now. The scene switches to the Mivo Group building, where we see some girls acting weird as Jinwoo walks in. Jinwoo wonders what could be going on. Suddenly, He Shui's cousin comes screaming at her to get into his office. There, he explains that she must suffer the losses of angering the investors because she tried to seduce someone. She explains that she's also a victim and it was he who told her to go for the guy in the first place. The guy doesn't care about any of that and just advises her to double her contract termination fee. She is too shocked by this, but the manager threatens that she'll be ruined if she doesn't make up for the losses. When she leaves the office, she sees other girls carrying their belongings and they tell her that they're quitting. They reveal that they're all heading to Dujin Media since the benefits there are much better. One of the girls explains how our boy supports his streamers very well, unlike the idiots at Meow Group. Shinuo begins trembling in fear as she realizes that the Meow Group is a lost cause. As the other girl offers to refer Xinuo to Duojin, she decides to double the penalty fee, hoping that luck will shine on her. Shinuo decides to take off as soon as she joins Duojin. She decides it's better to approach Xinguang now instead of waiting for him. A week later, Xinuo's colleague tells her that all the spots in Duojin have been filled up and no one knows when the next recruitment will take place. Upon hearing this, Xinuo's heart is completely shattered. She's caught in a dilemma because she just paid her termination fee. Meanwhile, we see Xinguang relaxing in his office when the system shows that Xinuo's regret level has gone up more. Xinuo returns to her home, reading through the texts between her and Xinguang, hoping for a miracle. But he tells her that what he wanted to discuss is no longer urgent. She tries to pitch herself, but he tells her to reach out to the Human Resources Department. For some days, Xinguang just ignores her, and when he finally replies, she requests that they grab a meal and chat, but he ignores her again. She starts regretting the fact that she terminated her contract before getting into the company. Her house is mortgaged, and she doesn't have close to enough to pay her loan. Realizing that her future is gone, she falls into despair. He recalls how the manager mocked her for trying to leave the company. He threatened to even blacklist her no matter where she runs to. With tears in her eyes, she calls him out for being so mean even though she has already paid the fees. But he says he just feels like it. Full of regret and fear, Xinuo sits on her bed, wondering what to do with her life now. The scene switches to Dujin Media, where Gao Wen enters Xinguang's office. She tells him that Xinuo contacted her, saying she wants to meet with him. Seeing that her skills are good, Gao Wen asks for Xinguang's opinion, and he agrees to meet with the girl just once. The scene changes again to a cafe where the MC meets with Xinuo. He notices that she has woken up and is barely usable for anything now. She acknowledges her wrongdoings and admits that she's nothing special. She then requests a chance to join Duojin, even if the salary is meager. Our boy gestures for her to pause for a moment. Seeing how miserable she looks, he acknowledges that her capabilities are really good. He says he can give her a spot at his company, but she'll have to join as a B-tier streamer and work her way up for a better salary. It's not like she has any other choice, so it's fine for her. As she accepts the conditions, he tells her to contact Gao Wen. She still regrets not treating him better all the while they've known each other. As they leave the cafe, she apologizes for always looking down on him and Gao Wen, and he is glad to see that she understands. At the same time, her regret level gets to 99%, and our boy receives 5 stat points. He looks back at her as she leaves, seeing that she now understands what true pain is. After that, he goes ahead to invest the points into his stamina. From a passerby's perspective, he looks absolutely crazy as he adds the points. With his stamina going up, he eventually reaches the peak level for an ordinary human. The system tells him that he can now challenge the limits of his human body. He then decides to go show off in front of Tyron and Yuan. The MC gets to the gym, where he sees Tyron doing some squats. He can tell the guy was provoked after his last display on the bench press. While he heads over to the front desk, Yuan admires our boy from afar, seeing that he actually changed. On the other hand, Tyron is pissed off to see him. The guy then offers to be Xinguang's personal trainer since he's looking for someone stronger. Tyron suggests that they do cardio for 50 minutes before moving on to weight training. Xinguang is surprised to hear that they'll be running for 50 minutes, and the guy lets him know that it's the minimum standard. Our boy then agrees to try it out. Meanwhile, Tyron feels the MC only has brute strength and no endurance. With this, he plans to embarrass him for trying to flex in front of his woman. While Tyron helps his girl with a workout session, they hear some girls cheering for Xinguang, who's still going on the treadmill. Yuan suggests that they should take a look at what's happening. Meanwhile, our boy doesn't look the least bit exhausted, but Tyron wonders why girls are all over him. On the other hand, the girls just want to feel Xinguang's muscles as he goes on sprinting for an hour. Simply staring at his body makes them go crazy. Even Tyron notices that Yuan can't help but stare intently at our boy. In return, her regret level increases by 10%, proving that she values a man's physical body more than anything else. Tyron's mind is blown as Xinguang tells him that the 50-minute session was too short. He then tells our boy to rest for a bit and catch his breath. Seeing that he only scheduled 2 hours, the MC decides to move on to the next workout. Yuan can tell that he's absolutely serious, but Tyron feels like the MC is trying to make the most use of his money. Tyron warns him that doing too much could be life-threatening, but Xinguang lets him know that he's not tired. He becomes angry as the MC talks back at him. He even recalls how our boy got beaten up by thugs that he hired to cause trouble for Yuan. At that moment, he showed up like a hero, and Yuan fell in love with him. That's how Yuan became his girlfriend, and our boy was left alone. But right now, Xinguang is eager to know which muscle group they're training next. He tells his coach to be more efficient because he's quite busy. Tyron looks at his legs and realizes that our boy must be skipping leg day and then tells him that it'll mess up his body balance. Our boy admits that the guy is right, and at the same time, the system randomly gives him 10,000 yuan. Tyron then tells him to come to the equipment area to train his legs. He plans to use this to embarrass our boy and make sure his girl never looks at Xinguang again. Yuan feels like the MC won't be a match for her boyfriend because of his weak legs. Eventually, time goes by, and Tyron gets the table flipped on him. Xinguang easily trains for over an hour and asks his coach why he can't feel the pump yet. Tyron is astounded by our boy's words. Meanwhile, Yuen's regret level goes up once more. It seems to be increasing at a much faster rate. She chases after our boy, and Tyron helplessly watches her, unable to do anything. Yuen then asks Xinguang if he'll be coming the next day. Upon hearing this, Tyron loses his mind. Yuen asks that they add each other as friends to keep in touch, causing her boyfriend to go even more crazy. After they scan each other's codes, Xinguang takes his leave. Subsequently, Tyron still can't believe that Yuen collected our boy's contact. The way she's smiling at the contact info puts him in a state of despair. When he asks why she's doing that, she tells him that Xinguang is an important business client for them, but Tyron doesn't think he's that important. He tells her that our boy has been plotting against her for a while, but he tells her to man up and say if he suspects her. She gets angered by his actions and walks away. As our boy heads down the elevator, the system shows him that Yuen's regret level has gone up again. Right now, he just needs to wait for Tyron to keep messing up so that Yuen's regret level will max out. Once comparison sets in, the person who is slightly worse tends to make more mistakes. Just a bit more patience and a tiny bit of kindness will bring a good amount of returns for him. Xinguang then gets a call from Mengxi, who wants to know if he's available at the moment, but he tells her that he's really busy. While she's at a hair salon, he tells her that if she wants something useless, then that means he's busy. Mengxi then goes ahead to invite our boy to dinner, but he says that having dinner with her is meaningless to him. He explains that he doesn't go on dates on work days, then hangs up the phone. After that, he starts praying that his actions will spike up her regret level. But there is just a huge silence. Feeling disappointed, he wonders how to make Mengxi's regret level reach the maximum. Meanwhile, the girl is stunned by the way our boy just hung up on her. She gets upset and leaves the salon without even finishing her hair. She returns home, slamming the door open furiously. She then falls on her bed while screaming how much she hates Xinguang. Over at Dujin Media, Gao Wen wonders if her boss has caught a cold, but he tells her that he's fine and then asks for some files. She then hands over her evaluations of some charity auctions she looked into. Our MC flips through the documents and tells her to sign them up for one he has picked out. He looks forward to collecting back their country's national treasures from Xiaoshang relics. Gao Wen then says she'll get started on preparations. As she leaves, our boy gets a call from Mengxi again, but he declines the call. Over at her house, she can't believe he actually declined her call. She starts overthinking the situation, wondering if she did something wrong. She gets really frustrated because she can't tell what Xinguang is thinking. After a while, she calmly sits down, hoping that she hasn't lost her chance. While our protagonist leaves his office, he continues to decline Mengxi's calls. After that, he walks into a fitness studio. Meanwhile, Mengxi looks like she might just go insane at this point. She starts crying like a little brat, wondering why our boy is ignoring her. The scene switches back to the gym, where Yuan asks Xinguang why he's late, and he simply tells her that he had an urgent meeting. She then hands him a bottle of water, and she also notices that our boy has no interest in her at all. However, she feels anxious, wondering if Xinguang has forgotten the feelings he had for her. He thanks her for the water and tells her that he can't accept it, but she tells him that he shouldn't worry about the price. Regardless, he is insistent on keeping things separate between them. Yuan starts to wonder if there's something wrong with her, considering the way our boy is treating her. As he enters the training room, Tyron steps out of his own. He gets furious with the way Xinguang is acting and decides to see how long he can keep up the act. He's biding his time, waiting for the right moment for our boy to lose control in front of Yuan. Meanwhile, the Messi starts his training session with some light weights. While he focuses on his arm curls, the girls there are drooling all over him, wondering if he's single. Yuan suddenly enters the room and asks our boy what he's training, to which he tells her, legs. He tells her that it's useful to him, and she wonders what he means. He explains how it'll help his body since he sits for long hours, and then he asks if she doesn't have other clients to attend to. She nervously tells him that it's not time for her client's appointment. While she's lost in thought, Tyron puts his hands around her waist to assert dominance. She gets upset and reminds him that they're in a workplace. He tries to explain that they usually do that, but she pushes the guy away. Suddenly, she starts blaming Tyron for how the gym is getting worse. As usual, her regret level increases as well. Our boy decides to leave the couple to continue arguing while he focuses on his training. In his sinister mind, he thanks Tyron for helping him to reap the rewards of the situation. Tyron grabs his girl's hand and asks her why she's acting so weird today. She then reprimands him for shouting so loudly about her period. After that, she tells him to let go of her hand and even tells him not to come near her again. Tyron is left heartbroken and assumes that Xinguang must have said something to Yuan. He quickly makes a call, telling the person to head over because he needs to blow off steam. As Xinguang leaves the gym, Yuan tells him to wait and asks him out to dinner so they can catch up, and he agrees. He's trying to make it look like he still likes her in order to keep his plans on track. She then asks him to wait while she showers quickly and changes. At the same time, she assumes that our boy must be freaking out because she asked him out. He then takes a seat, and she runs off to get changed. Meanwhile, our boy wonders why her regret level has stopped going up. Tyron then comes over, ready to make Xinguang beg for mercy. Later on, Yuan leaves the fitting room in a stylish dress, ready to head out with our boy. As they head out, Tyron tells his contact to commence the plan, and he eagerly awaits the good news. When they get outside, Yuan offers to drive them to a nice place. As Xingguang opens the car door, a guy comes along and slams it shut. Then, he asks the MC if he knows who owns the parking spot. He also sees that the guy is accompanied by some other thugs. Yuan quickly approaches them to find out what they're up to. She lets the guy know that the car belongs to her, and he tells her that he already had his eyes on the parking space since morning. She reminds the dude that it's a public parking spot. On the other hand, Xingguang can tell that these guys are just here to cause trouble. The guy grabs Yuan, blaming her for taking his spot, and she screams for him to let go. While he stares at her like a freaking creep, he hears our boy telling him to let her go. The dude gets pissed off, but our boy admits that he's about to be a hero and save the girl. However, the thugs threaten to break Xingguang's legs. Yuan then picks up her phone to call her boyfriend, but the MC tells her that it's too late for that, and she wonders what he means. The thugs then tell our boy to beg for mercy, and they'll consider forgetting the whole thing, but Xingguang makes it clear that it's too late for them to run away. Filled with anger, the first guy charges at him, but our boy knocks his lights out with one punch. In an instant, he completely wrecks the three thugs. Yuan falls more in love with him as she watches him fight. Xingguang asks the last guy if he knows why he didn't get beat up, and he figures it so that he can take the rest to the hospital. After that, Yuan wonders if Xingguang has trained to fight before, but he just wants to hurry up and leave the place. As they enter the car, she still wonders how he's such a good fighter. In return, her regret level finally goes up by 20%. And our hero is grateful to the thugs for helping him out. Well guys, that's the end of the video. If you like this video, comment part 2 in the comment section. Also subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and like the video. Thank you for watching and see you next time again.